Saturday!
Session 1 is a go. Woo!
Hello.
It's been a long time coming.
Woo!
Get that out now. Excellent. So, to go over a couple of things first. What?
Walks away, one job.
Nope, I have one job. Nope, and I didn't want to get everything wet, so I don't have a drink. So
You can have a drink.
no, that thing's gonna tip over and spill. I
Not
have one
have it
job.
on one part
I'm
of the
not doing
thing.
it.
Okay.
I'm not doing it.
All right.
It's not happening.
All right. So, just a minute ago, I asked you guys to fill out all of these. These are basically just going to be quick references for me about your character. I've got them here. We're mostly going to be using these in combat, but I just want to say thanks for doing that. I've went ahead and added them to your individual player cards, but something that I need all of you to do right now for your individual character sheets is under the alignment section on the front page, I need you to add either 3 circles or 3 boxes, basically just like 3 Boolean checkmark options there under alignment. Steve, I believe you've already done that because we talked about that in your backstory. That's
I
section
think
0.
it's right there.
Oh, yeah.
Here, I'll show you an example. So in this case, this is Sierra's character sheet inside of a dossier. So here, she's got character class and level, blah, blah, blah. And if you see up in the top, between character name and player, there's alignment. Hers is neutral good. I'm going to add in 3 boxes below alignment. They can be wherever, you just have to know where they are. So in this case, she's added hers right here. Okay? Those are going to be alignment points. So this is something that I've kind of come up with. They may be used somewhere else. I don't fucking know. I don't believe in no because we're still within a minute, I think.
We're in a minute and a half. You can curse all you like.
All right, sweet. Yeah, I don't know. So basically, what they're going to do is anytime you start acting outside of your alignment, I'm going to give you, repeatedly acting outside of your alignment. I'm going to, consistently. I'm going to be giving you an alignment point. It's a bad thing. As an addition to the atonement spell that can be cast by clerics, atonement can also be used to clear alignment points. For each alignment point you have, you're going to have a -2 to all of your d20 rolls. Not damage, just d20 rolls. So it simulates a condition. I think it's nauseated.
That's second.
Sickened. It simulates sickened, thank you. And basically it's just to represent the inner struggle your character has with your regret, shame, all of those negative emotions from acting outside of your normal jurisdiction.
Hypothetically, since I'm totally chaotic good,
Right.
if there's an evil guy who's defeated and he says I surrender, we can still slay him, right? Because he's evil.
So that depends on the context. So most straight D&D games view objective morality. So in this case, yes. In your question,
Just checking.
Good slaying or defeating evil is pretty much always viewed as a good thing, as good triumphing over evil.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is a different level that I like to bring into the games, and it's if the Lich for whatever reason surrenders and you kill him, he's a fucking Lich, he's undead. Undead are terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Kill him and then destroy his phylactery and wipe from the face of the earth.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but if
Destroy
it's
the
a
wicked.
thief who's just stealing in order to survive and has not really done a whole lot of blatantly.
Is he a lawful evil thief?
Well, maybe he's neutral. Maybe he's.
Is he trying to repent? Because if not,
You could offer, and if
I am a
you
cleric.
could offer, you could offer repentance, and under the rules
they refuse it, then we
of
execute them.
atonement,
thank you.
under the rules of atonement,
Always gonna execute them.
Yeah, of course. I have the ability to do so.
Go ahead.
under the rules of atonement, they have to be willingly. They have to willingly accept the spell, and if so, they would atone for their sins and change alignments. Now, at the end of that spell, you would also know if they were just faking it in order to survive, and the caster would know whether or not they actually became repentant. And in that case, if they chose not to, fucking kill them because they were lying to you about trying to get away with it and all this other stuff. So it's for the most part objective, but there will be subjective times that come up, and I expect you to act accordingly. Now, this is mostly for the, we we rescue a hostage. What do?
Don't kill the hostage.
Well, do we just leave them there to fend to themselves? We bring them with us?
We
deeper.
save them.
Yeah, but we're
course.
going deeper into the wilderness, right? So do we bring them with us, or do we take 7 days out of our trip to make sure they get back to a city?
We put
Do
them out
know?
of their misery so as not run the risk.
Thank you.
Yeah, so there's that.
I
that's-
disagree.
No. No. So,
Bye.
yeah, we're gonna cover that
Have fun.
stuff in game. Yeah,
So
no,
where's your circle?
I'm chaotic neutral. I do what's best for me.
I am
So-
lawful good,
and for
my
me,
friend,
it's
and
not
that is
not
a
turning
little bit
people
out of
in.
character.
You can lawfully charge them money to save them, and if they don't pay, you don't save them.
Now that's some
That's
some lawful evil
genius.
stuff
Yeah,
right there,
that's-
sir.
Lawful neutral
I think
at
me and you will
worst.
be great partners in this.
All right.
A little bit so you can see the screen occasionally.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
to make sure
it's still
chaotic
going.
good.
Just
Ah.
nice.
I'm lawful good.
Bunch of
Wink.
Yeah, you would be against the murder of just to put them out of their misery when they're not actually in misery at the
Or
time.
just never
Yeah,
see
that would
them.
definitely
Alright,
be
seems
me.
fair, I guess.
Well then, so this is okay.
But you understand that I actually know how alignment and effect works.
I do understand,
Still
and I
agree with
appreciate
you.
the
I'm just
comedy,
making
but
sure.
this I'm including these. My goal is to never have to give one out, but if I do,
Character development happens.
character
Yeah.
development
Get two and not
happens,
another one.
but it shouldn't be backwards. It shouldn't be character development.
That's
Oh.
developing
Sometimes-
into a newer.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta take a step
Evolution.
back to take
Evolution
2 steps
is
forward.
Evolve.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
What's that
I
phrase?
mean,
2 steps forward, 1
Take
step
a
back,
step
something
towards
like that?
Lichstone.
Yeah.
You're technically
yeah, I said that,
going
but in
more
the
towards
opposite way.
immortality.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, we've ranted on this enough. Some other things that I wanted to cover because we're used to coming from multiple different editions and versions of the games, and now that we're switching to Pathfinder First Edition, I want to go over some things that are kind of important. So most importantly, death. Your character dies when you reach your negative Constitution score. All right, it's not dead at -10, and it's not dead at negative your total hit points, like in 5th edition. It's your negative con score, so that's going to be different between each of you, and that's up to you to keep track of.
Makes sense.
So
Under-
if someone were to spill over damage and it bleeds over our con score,
You die.
alright.
Permanently.
And if you aren't stabilized and you bleed out to your negative con score, you die.
What exactly is a
17 and
con
14
score?
equals 31. So
Your
if I
con
were to
score,
get
so
con,
under
right
your
here,
ability
17.
scores,
Mhm.
the Constitution.
That's
I'm
it.
out.
17.
What is that?
Okay.
17?
Yeah.
When you reach negative 17 hit points, your character dies.
Oh, that's what you mean. Okay, correct. Yeah.
Now, another thing is, in this
Negative
version,
17
Pathfinder
is
First
terrible.
Edition, every time you sleep, you only gain 1 hit point per your effective class level, your effective character level. So at this point, you guys are all level 2. During a full night's rest, if you are uninterrupted, you only get 2 hit points back. Naturally. You can obviously use magic, alchemy, potions, things like that to increase the number, but a full night's rest only grants you hit points equal to your effective class level. All right?
Not even so. Our con has nothing to do with that.
Con has nothing to do with it, unless I believe there are very weak alchemical potions that will allow you to regenerate faster as you sleep. Not quite fast healing, where you're healing every round, but instead it's like every hour you'll get an additional few hit points, and you'll be able to buy those to basically just sleep off the damage from the day before. We also have pretty much everybody except Jamie's a caster. So I'm introducing another mechanic for preparing spells. It's probably going to come up frequently, so I'm not writing it down. Just if you have a question on how it works, ask. I'll explain it. So in the morning, after your rest, you get all of your slots or spell levels, however you want to call it, back. And if you prepare then in the morning. Spontaneous casters, you don't have to prepare. You just, get your slots back. Okay? Now, the same mechanic is going to be used for both spontaneous and non-spontaneous casters. Effectively, you can take a break and start re-preparing or meditating to get spells back during the day. It doesn't have to be after a full rest. It can be at any point in time. It could be in the middle of a dungeon. It could be in the afternoon. It doesn't matter. It's just, it has to be an uninterrupted break. And it's going to be 10 minutes per spell level you want to get back. So if you want to get a first level spell back, you need a 10-minute break. If you want to get a 9th level spell back, you need an hour and a half for that one spell. Okay? Before you roll and before you take your break, you have to declare what level and what spell specifically you're attempting to remem. For our spontaneous casters, you just have to declare what spell slot level. So you guys would just need to declare, I'm getting a level 1 slot back. But everybody else, you would have to declare level and what individual spell it is. Cleric, you cannot re-prepare your domain spells.
Right, so I only have to declare what spell level, since I'm sorcerer.
Correct. So in this case, I think you still only have access to level 1s. You would basically just take a 10-minute break and get 1 spell slot back.
Right.
Now there is a check. Okay, so it's not going to be instantaneous. The check DC is going to be equal to 15
Can we take this break anywhere?
anywhere, as long as you're uninterrupted. If you are interrupted during the time you perform any other action, the check automatically fails.
So a 10-minute break. Neat. For only 1 spell slot.
One spell slot. One, or, one spell level per slot, you know what I mean? 20-minute break, you can get a second level spell.
Okay,
But
so
you do
it's-
you gain all of them back on
You
a
have to
full
declare
night's
it
sleep.
beforehand.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before you take the rest. You have to declare what you're going for.
Okay, so
Can you
the
do?
first level.
Is there any
10
kind of
minutes.
HD gain back for
Second level, you can
during
get
like a
2
rest
first
like
level
that?
spells.
Or
Nope.
If you make 20
Ah,
minutes.
I see.
All right, so the
But you have to
DC, it's
declare
going to be a
them beforehand.
spellcraft
So you
check,
have 3 first, or
which,
2 first level
all my
spells right
casters
now.
should have
There are
access
2
to as class
first level
skill.
spell slots right now.
So I recommend
I haven't really played
heavily
a
delving
caster
into
in a
that.
while, so it's a
The
little bit
DC is going to be
confusing.
15 plus the spell level
We use
plus
more
the number of
cantrips.
attempts you've done that in that day. So in this case, as an example, this is your first time of a day doing it, and you're getting a level 1 slot back. The DC is 16. You have 0 previous attempts, and it's a level 1 slot. 1 plus 15 becomes 16. That's your spellcraft DC.
15 plus.
The spell level
Okay.
plus
Okay.
the number of previous attempts. So it gets harder the more you do this in one day. A natural 20 does not automatically succeed, a natural 1 does not automatically fail.
Just like with any other skill check.
Just like with any other skill check. Also, unlike other skills, you cannot be aided in this action. So you guys can't all powwow around and give one person a plus 16 to their roll in order to get one
Massage
spell
on the
back.
shoulders, like, oh, you got this, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
man.
got this. Yeah, you can't
We
powwow.
believe in you.
But
But-
aid him in this rest.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So remember, relax
That
the
didn't
shoulders.
sound right.
So, that's going to come up,
Maybe
obviously.
cast aid.
That's the set DC. It is a mechanic that is campaign canon, so it's really only going to apply to this, campaign.
Okay.
It is going to be subject to change because it's my first time implementing it. So if later on we find that the scaling DC is a little too difficult, we might scale it back a little bit.
Level 9 spell back.
Yeah, if we find that it's way too easy, I might start to increase the DC a little bit. So put an asterisk under the ability to use it as subject to change at your discretion. Excellent.
So going back to the health regeneration thing, it's one
1 hit point
1 hit point,
per your effective character level.
and that's
it's
just
abbreviated
flat.
as
So
ECL, correct.
on an 8-hour long rest, I'd only get 2 hit points back.
Yes, without the aid of magic.
Without the
That's the
aid of
key.
magic.
That's the key thing. So naturally, if you were to just hypothetically, you TPK, you're in the middle of the mountains, you have absolutely no access to a city, and you're at 3 hit points. That night, you go to 5. Now there are rules for you can take a full day's rest, where basically that day you're focusing on tending your wounds, you're focusing on making sure you're hydrated, you have lots of nourishment, you're resting. If you do that, you get twice your ECL and hit points back. So basically you dedicate the day to rest and nourishment and recovering. And that's all just basically for non-magical healing. So obviously if you guys get shafted in a fight and you end up having to take a few days to rest, you have access to magic where they can be using spells to aid you on top of that.
That's kind of cool because that's a lot different than like,
Yes.
oh shit, we just fought a
Yeah.
dragon and I basically almost died because he impaled me and I just slept last night and I'm 100% better. We're good to go.
Yeah, that's
I like this.
It's-
Is because this can be different. Okay.
it's more difficult. All right?
Yeah.
An 8-hour sleep doesn't just magically make everything better, unless you use magic.
Which is
Thank you.
Or the
Which is
subject
why we have a
fatigue.
cleric.
Yeah.
Do we have
Well, the druid
Yes,
can
I
also
am-
heal.
I'm
Sierra,
the cleric.
like obviously you guys know Sierra's not here yet, but the druid can also heal.
Mhm.
The cleric can spontaneously cast cure spells. It has to have the word cure in it, so you can't spontaneously cast heal. and heal
Regrettably.
I
mass.
have cure light wounds.
Yeah, but
And you can
if
spontaneously
at
cast
the
it.
end of a day you decide that you're probably not going to have another encounter for that night, you can sacrifice the spells you have prepared and then use magic to heal somebody. Now, also, this
Always a good
combined
idea.
with the 10-minute, check to get spells back, while other parts of the group are resting, the healers can be meditating to get some spells back to be used for healing. Right? So they kind of synergize in that way, where obviously they'll need protection while they're meditating, so a couple people in the night have to be active to stand watch. But if one or two people, are very seriously injured, they can be meditating to get spells back and then use them on those characters to prevent them from dying. All right? When you're reduced to 0 hit points, you're staggered. You're not unconscious in this edition. You get a standard or a move. If you take a standard action, you complete that action, and then you immediately take 1 hit point of damage and fall unconscious. That rule does not apply to moves, so you cannot take the disengage action, but you could, safely, if you were in a position to do so without provoking an attack of opportunity, you could move away from the combat and not take damage.
And
like
casting in combat provokes attack opportunity, right?
Yes, unless you cast defensively, which I believe is a
Concentration check.
that's in 3.5. They got rid of
Mhm.
concentration.
I see
in
that.
Pathfinder. Yeah, I
It's
believe
crazy.
it's spellcraft now. I'll have to take
Cool.
another look.
I like it.
Um,
I could do that.
I have a pretty high spellcraft as well.
yeah, I'll take a double check. But yeah. Also, they got rid of tumble. I don't know if anybody's going to build into kind of like a dexterous build, but in order to move through enemy squares without provoking attacks of opportunity, it's now an acrobatics check. It's not a tumble check. They got rid of tumble when they updated from 3.5 to Pathfinder. All right. So, I think that's everything that I wanted to go over beforehand. Do you guys have any questions for me? Going around the table? No? Everybody's square?
I'll figure out as we go.
I'm a
Now-
little round, actually, but we're good.
Everybody has your hit points, saves, skills, all that shit allotted. Everyone has their favored class selected.
Yeah.
Okay? And you also know what your favorite class bonus is. Okay? that's
It's awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What do you mean?
okay.
Right
What?
here.
So this is your first time playing Pathfinder.
Yes.
Okay. At character creation,
Mhm.
you have to select what your favored class is going to be. Pathfinder only allows for base and core classes to be favored classes. Prestige classes, and I believe certain base classes out of expansion books, like the occult books.
Yeah.
I'm going to put an asterisk on. I don't know if they can be favorite classes. But your base and core classes, they can be your favorite class.
Mhm.
Every time you gain a level in that class, you either gain an additional hit point or an additional skill point. And that skill point can be applied anywhere.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be your preferred class skills. Humans, they also get a bonus on top of that as a racial modifier, but since you're playing a dwarf, you're basically only get your favorite class bonus. A prestige class can never be your favorite class.
Okay.
Okay, so in this case, like, let's say somebody wanted to take Dragon Disciple or Half Dragon, whichever one it is, as a prestige class. Any level they took in that prestige class would not grant this additional bonus. Also, some classes, such as your two, I believe, and yours, they have separate optional favorite class features. Like for yours, since you're an elf, you could also add 1/3 of your gunslinger class to confirm critical hits, which you would need to gain your grit back. But I believe you chose something else.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look up that human race.
So I would just add 1 hit point to myself?
Huh?
So I just add 1 hit point to myself?
You get 1 hit point.
I've already done that.
Oh, okay.
When I helped you fix your character.
Okay.
That's
You get
my
additional hit
favorite
point or
class.
additional skill.
Yeah, but he said it was different.
I thought we did
Humans
that.
also,
I
as
just
a
want to make
race,
sure.
get an additional skill point every time they gain a level.
So I can basically get a hit point and a skill point at the same time.
Yes. Or
Nice.
2 skill points.
Or 2 skill points.
Yeah.
And as a spellcaster, it'd probably be more useful to take the.
Hit points. At low levels.
Oh, I was going to say the other one, but yeah. Okay.
But you do you, however you
Yeah.
want to build your character. Alright, so, with all of that being said,
Yeah. Before we go on from that exact subject,
okay.
so I'm sorcerer,
Mhm.
and I'm a kobold, but like I get sorcerer bonuses each level, like 1 level or something, 1 level or 1 skill point. Is that how that works?
No, Cobalt.
Okay.
So
It's racial.
I don't
not
understand your question. First
Yeah, the
off.
thing you just
The
explained.
1 to skill and the 1 to hit point
Yeah, that.
is racial. It's for Cobalt, not for sorcerer.
No, it's for sorcerer, not for
Oh.
kobold,
Oh,
Right.
then why is it a racial bonus?
because you're a human.
Yeah, but
That's just a little bonus.
Okay.
Yeah. As a kobold, you don't get any racial bonus as you level.
Right, I know.
Just
But so do I just get an HP or a skill point? I don't know where to
Yeah, I
read
think
that in
that's
the book.
I think that's going.
So it's under the favored class description.
Okay.
Kobolds
Yeah.
may have a separate favored class for sorcerers. I don't know what
Okay,
it
they
is off the
do
top of my head.
actually. Oh, you know what? I did read that. Gotcha.
Well, the bonus that you pick also has to be selected at level 1. You can't bounce back and forth between whatever the racial one is and the optional skill point.
Right. Well, the racial one here says just add a half a point of damage for your chosen energy type, which is obvious brass
Lightning.
dragon. Yeah, lightning. Per 2 levels, or
Right.
per level you get half. So
Yeah, per 2 levels you get 1.
right. That's that. And so like, there's an alternative to otherwise take HP because I'm totally taking this extra damage.
Yes, there is an alternative to taking a hit point or a skill point.
Right. Okay.
If you
But
wanna-
it's
if you
one or
want-
the other.
It's one
or
or the
this.
other. If you want to buff the damage, that's a great one. And then also you could build into meta magic energy substitution and make all of your energy attacks lightning based.
I like that idea.
Get bonus.
Lightning
boost
is the
bonus
best
damage.
to use, honestly.
Force.
Yeah, but it doesn't
That
have the
answer your
same kind of
question? Yes, it
cool
did.
effect.
Okay, cool. I'm glad we had this talk because I want to try to
Every
avoid
knows, like, the
conversations
dark
like
side
this
looks
when we're in the
cooler.
middle of like an encounter and stuff. Excellent. So, let's get into the world.
We're just gonna drop from the sky.
No, you all have been invited to a meeting at the Inn of 6 Candles. Each of you have been contacted by a various representative of an archmage by the name of Caden. You only know him by his first name. And you are meeting him here in Bard's Gate. From what you've kind of gathered with your interactions with his associates, they're preparing for some type of expedition of sorts. Some of you have heard different locations, and that was intentional. Just keep that in mind. But the moon is full and high in the sky, and there is a slight haze coming off the river that is filling most of the city of Bard's Gate. As a reminder, you guys are currently on the continent of Akados, and Bard's Gate is right here in the Lyre Valley. These are the Stoneheart Mountains, and the city is kind of nestled between this larger, major mountain region and this smaller mountain region right here. The inn is famous for spellcasters of all kinds, but particularly for sorcerers and wizards. The Inn of 6 Candles started as a components shop where traveling wizards and arcane casters and even divine casters could come and shop for the components that they needed in order to complete their spells. Out of necessity, the inn slowly expanded into catering, hospitality services to those individuals as well. But they do cater to everyone. You don't have to be a spellcaster to get in. There's no bouncer, there's no guard, but the building is rather large and seems slightly larger on the inside than it should be. It's on a bustling street, and you each kind of file in as you will throughout the evening. You don't all arrive at the same time. However,
I've had a roof.
you've already been there, and so has the kobold, actually. You,
Oh, really?
you two are already in the building.
Hello.
You two are downstairs in the dining area, enjoying a drink or having some food. Caden has opened a tab for you, so you guys have pretty much all of your needs being met for free, and you've been invited to stay. You guys would know that the meeting is set for tonight. Caden himself, you two have also already met. He's currently upstairs, and you're waiting for some of his associates to return from gathering information in the town before the meeting. As the rest of you file into the tavern, you would see there is a dwarf and a kobold, for some reason or another, not trying to kill each other, sitting over at a table.
We're having a nice drink.
And you also see what looks to be like
Oh, take good of mead for myself.
an elf with a wolf, like large mastiff-looking wolf companion at her side. Also sitting at the table, the three of you are enjoying some drinks. You would know that Sierra's character's name is Isabella, and she arrived roughly about the same time as you, and for the most part, she just kind of keeps to herself. She hasn't been too inquisitive on the exact details of the expedition, though she is interested, and she will be signing up. As you guys file in, the rest of you, you're approached by a barmaid who asks your business. Why are you here? Each of you respond, I'm assuming, by giving her the placard or the invitation. Okay. Ah, yes, excellent. Very good, very good. Help yourselves.
Did homeboy just drop me off?
No, you would have been guided to the inn before, because you weren't. Your session 0 took place on the same day, correct?
Mm-hmm.
The same day of the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
You would have been guided here and shown where the inn was, and then he would have basically been like, "I'll meet you back here later," and had to go off and do some business. So you could have been hanging out through the day, or you could have been.
I'd be right in my room.
In your room.
Yep, just waiting.
Okay.
For word.
So in that case, you've already been here. You had to pay for your room, but in this case, you're downstairs waiting for the meeting to start. And you did the same thing when you arrived. You showed her the invitation. She set you up and told you when the meeting would roughly begin.
Okay.
The rest of you, you're each treated to some very kind of like basic table food, some bread, fat butter and a knife, and then some like a bucket of beer. So just kind of get the evening started.
I'd be chatting up some of the.
Is your Dolan with you?
Yeah, he would be active.
All right. So the barmaid requests that you, since he is skittish, scary looking, either leave him outside or dismiss him because he's.
At that point, my response is.
What is your name, good sir?
I didn't know that looks were a requirement for entry.
Well, you see, he, although covered, is, he's wearing gloves.
Far
and shoes
more
and-
frightening than anything over there.
I mean, if he has his cloak and mask on, she wouldn't be able to see any of his
I can see eye line.
Well, he's seen some battle. I mean, in this case, he looks more like a ranger, just somebody who's used to keeping the sun off of him. But you actively have
dismiss him for now.
you have an extraplanar bat creature in the tavern.
You're probably pulling more looks
Look,
than that,
look,
man.
look,
You might as well have a Cthulhuoid
It's the
monster.
first time I'm gonna do it. I might as well do it. But why don't we just leave this up to debate?
Okay. I understand that that's your
Yeah, that
companion's
is the name of the Eidolon.
Yeah. So what does the
inside
Eidolon do?
He dismisses himself,
Okay.
as he is capable of doing.
He flaps goodbye to you.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah. And then I
Fades back.
and then I do prepare.
Gives a good thumbs up, just-
And then while sitting there, I do prepare 99% of the ritual to bring him back again because it takes a full minute to do.
Okay.
So pretty much just like 9, 1, 1. If I hit send, we've got a problem.
Okay. You can be on standby.
Yeah.
You're
And I do try to chat up some of the, let's say, not so right side of the law wait staff about potential powders and chemicals.
Are you trying to start a drug deal?
I think he's trying to.
Whoa. You call it drugs. For me, it's performance enhancing powders.
So you start.
I start asking about the honey dust.
Okay. What are you two doing?
She directs me where the table. I go sit at the table.
She would direct you to the table with the kobold, dwarf,
I
and
walk up and
elf.
gentlemen, I sit down.
What language are you speaking in?
Common.
Okay, then I ignore you.
Do not worry, he has a very few words.
I do give you a proper dwarven greeting in Dwarven, though.
Why, hello. Good to hear my own tongue.
And I'm going to say in
My bad.
Draconic, what heathen language are you speaking? Coward.
Do you speak Draconic?
Wait, I have comprehend languages.
Okay, yeah. So
But that does not answer
this is
the
why
previous
gummies
question.
wait until after we start recording. Yeah. So a couple things.
Yeah.
You have to cast the spell in
Yeah.
order for it to be.
Well, I know that.
And
No, wait.
If you've gotten to the point where you have to consistently have comprehend languages up to talk to the kobold, you're probably not talking to the kobold.
Let me rephrase that. I did have one other language I could add, and I was just waiting. So
you
Draconic,
just
yeah.
learned Draconic.
Just sitting there.
Oh wait, that's right. I know.
Yeah.
You got it right.
Because I picked Hyborean and then
what happens.
Draconic.
Remember when I was like, is everybody's character sheet
Yeah,
away?
I'm very sorry.
Is everybody
I
ready
meant to
go?
add that yesterday, but I forgot.
Yeah,
I was
that
looking
one
this over.
bonus feat that I had left.
If it helps
Just
anybody,
added it
I
earlier.
speak Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, and Elvish from my travels.
Wonderful.
No,
At
that's,
least
you
you
can
speak
totally have
one
Draconic.
real
You're a
language.
spellcaster, like it makes sense.
Yeah,
Got
and,
it.
and then Draconic too.
Well,
Like, it's fine. I'm just.
Very
If anybody
sorry.
does not currently have all of their languages picked, please do so.
I have that.
But what if it's like
my
right
own
in the
tongue.
nitty-gritty when we need to know what that language
That's
is right
why he
there?
has
That's why he has
Comprehend
comprehend
now.
languages.
Okay. Well, you can comprehend the language, but can you speak Draconic?
Comprehend does not allow you to speak. It just allows you to
Well, I
understand
speak it as
any
a language.
tongue in order to speak.
I can speak it as I
You
have.
speak Draconic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
now you're friends.
You've
now
been
you're
talking to
actual
me
friends.
for hours now, my good sir.
He's been faking it the whole time. Don't worry.
Ah.
Yeah. Then I'm just gonna say those unswarthy gentlemen don't speak the proper tongue. Heathens.
Well, you know.
And then I'll cheers to you for doing it.
All right, what are you doing?
I have a tankard in my hand, and I'm gonna go make friends with these fine gentlemen that I see over here debating. By the looks of it.
Skins.
Oh, we're debating, are we?
Oh Lord.
Welcome to our table.
More to drink.
All right, so you guys
Waitress.
you guys all join the table. You pull some chairs over. Everybody's there. And you're, the waitress has basically only gathered you 7 to this table. There are other patrons here in the tavern, but they don't seem to be invited to the meeting. None of them produce placards or anything that shows their invitation. Pretty late into the evening, you guys would recognize the 4 individuals.
Oh yeah, is my friend with us? With me technically? 'Cause-
Ward?
Yes.
No. He, same thing. He would have shown you where the inn was if you didn't know, but he had other duties in the city to take care of before the
So-
meeting. So none of Caden's associates are here
Okay.
in the inn. It's just you 7 as far as any relationship with Caden at
Okay.
the moment. However, late into the evening, you guys would see 4 individuals walk into the tavern. Some of you may recognize them. You don't recognize all of them, but whoever was your assistant plot hook into the campaign, you would recognize. So you would recognize Malthus. You would recognize Vorg. You would recognize
Mallory.
Reverend Mallory. And so on. You would recognize Thane, Glorian Thane. And so they are very excited that you've all shown up. They have a few. They pull up a whole separate table for them just to give some more space, and you guys probably celebrate for about 10-15 minutes, talking about some past travels and things like that. Nothing really specific. If you bring up questions pertaining to the terms of your employment, they all tell you that they don't really know the details. They were each told something different by Caden. So that if anybody was to be eavesdropping or trying to gather information from them clandestinely, they would be given basically false information while they were out in the city. And that was actually, they'll tell you that's where they were today, is they were kind of spreading some false rumors about where the expedition is heading, because Caden has several intellectual rivals on this expedition.
So
And they-
no one actually knows what the wizard wants to do.
except the wizard. Only the wizard knows the true destination of the expedition.
I'd like to ask the gentleman in a particular way. It's like I would like to ask, what is with the and quote unquote term, derogatory term for non-magical casters doing here?
Well, he would.
In the Tavern of the Six Kingdoms.
You actually have no idea that he can or cannot cast magic. Just as why you wouldn't have any idea that any of them can cast magic. They haven't cast any magic yet.
Yeah, we're here, so
If
by
anything,
definition
if
we
anything,
can't.
he has a very strange-looking staff on his back. He could be a magic user.
Okay.
I think the boomstick is actually magic.
Yeah, as far as you guys
Cast
are all
boom.
concerned, that's a staff of fireball.
Very fast fireball.
Or is
A very underpowered fireball.
A very buff magic missile.
Ooh, that's a good
you
one.
can have
Yeah.
10 XP for that. Yeah, take it. No, seriously, take it.
Oh yeah, I'll take it. I'm gonna need
That
that.
could be the
experience.
difference between a whole level one.
Thank you, Daddy.
Thanks.
We gotta function a little bit. We gotta push it a little
All
bit.
right, well, this whole part's gonna get bleeped.
You're pushing it.
What is XP?
Pretty much as an
I'm just gonna
ongoing
write it on
joke,
top.
you know,
Thank you,
things
yeah,
you
I'm
should be
just
saying on YouTube will be things we should be saying on Pornhub.
Plus
Yeah.
10.
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Okay, but yeah, you would
Figure it
also
out.
know that the gentleman you assisted in that alley that night, Borg, he's a mercenary. He doesn't cast magic, but he's basically like, should anything survive the onslaught of magic and close on his associates, he's the last
more
line.
than
He's
willing
more than
to take
capable
care
of taking the two-hander and cutting them in half. So, you're not out of place here. You're looking for work. And not necessarily everybody who comes to the tavern is a magic user. I mean, they cater to all hospitality. They just specialize in catering to magic.
Everyone's welcome here.
Everybody's welcome.
Free
It's a great
place.
city, Yeah,
It's for drinks.
yeah.
Indeed.
Drinks and a good time.
Mhm.
So after you guys are mingling, talking to your respective plot hooks, you two would recognize, and so would the druid. You would see Caden come down from the stairs, and he would have knocked on your door because when you surrendered the invitation, Caden would have been notified of your intent, and so he would have come and got you, introduced himself. He looks to be like a very powerful.
Sure, which one do you want?
He is clad in immaculate robes. He carries a very ornately decorated staff, but he has it sheathed kind of on a back holster, so he can quickly access it if needed, but it's currently in a stored position. And you would know that's for the laws of the city. And he invites you to come downstairs for a beverage while he meets some new clientele / associates.
Okay.
So you guys would all see Mithras, Galorian, Father Mallory, and Borg stand, and they don't salute or anything, but they go to Caden, kind of like shake his hand, talk about some stuff that they did in the city briefly, and then they would all turn to introduce you to Caden, respectively. So Mithras would go first, followed by Galorian, then Father Mallory, and then finally Borg. And I believe you're the only individual who actually was recruited by Borg.
Yes.
Caden looks pleasantly surprised. He's, to describe him, he kind of has like a biker vibe going on. Bald head, very nice, thick, luscious wizard beard. His robes are very ornately decorated. He's got the staff with him. You can also see anybody who would have access to arcane spells would see that inside of his robes he's got various hidden pouches for spell components and things like that. You also notice he has a couple of scrying tools hanging from his waist. He's got kind of like a cloth belt used to hold the robes closed, and dangling from the cloth he's got like a small silvered mirror, a polished bowl that could be used for collecting water. That's probably the druid. Can you get the door? What did she say?
I think
Said,
she
"Do I
said,
need to-"
hey, I'm here. Because the druid is here.
Hey, Steve, it's so good though.
Well, druid appears.
Yes. I
Welcome.
love when the druid appears while the cameras are rolling.
It's all good. No, she's good. She's good. Come on.
Yeah.
Better than not showing up at all.
Trying to give her a chance to do what she wanted to do before getting on camera.
We can do it. You good?
Yeah.
We only just started.
I didn't know if she would want to put her
Do it
mask
for
on
now.
before entering the
Edit all
chemistry.
this.
I mean, you could have done that in the car.
I didn't know you were rolling yet. I thought we were waiting.
No. Would you like some help?
Legends wait for no
It's
one.
slightly.
Come out.
Come on. I feel like I need a catchphrase now.
You heard it. Oh my gosh.
Evelyn?
Yeah.
Why did you show her the mask?
Unfortunately, the 1964 Batman with Adam West is no longer under.
Oh, okay.
Oh, keep going.
We'll talk about it after.
As far as I'm aware.
All
That is
right.
why I
So,
can use that
okay,
insult.
yeah, briefly bringing up to speed, where at the end, Caden just introduced himself. You haven't missed much. Also, your saves
Also,
were correctly calculated.
Family's married.
1.
I know. I was letting you know we hadn't finished it. All right. So, getting back into it. So yeah, Caden comes down. He introduces himself. He's very pleasantly surprised to see all of you.
Cheers, Caden. Come out.
Cheers.
Yeah, and
Huzzah.
give him a fist bump and a bro.
Huzzah!
He
You
goes
don't
for
speak
it.
common?
Yeah.
That's how I greet
you.
people. Different.
I'm not speaking.
Yeah,
It's a
so
filthy
he's-
language.
Yeah, he's more than happy to see you all.
True. It is
He takes a
difficult
double
language.
I
glance at
didn't say
you.
that character.
He kind of does like a looks you up and down and then goes,
I don't speak common.
huh.
It's a filthy language.
And then he also does a double take at you. All right, well,
And I just get a nice little.
we should go upstairs if we're going to be talking business. He gets very serious.
Lead the way.
Of course.
We finished my
5
drink.
coins for the first hour.
So on the way up, you see Vorg and Glorian Fane. Basically, they order some refreshments to be sent up in a few minutes, but they request that the barmaid knock a certain command number of times before entering, for privacy's sake. And then you're led upstairs. Caden goes first, followed by the rest of you, and then Vorg and Melthus and Father Mallory bring up the rear. When you get to the room, it is very, very large on the inside. This is definitely some extra dimensional space going on. You're not too sure how structurally this is existing right now. But the room is probably 50 feet by 50 feet. It is in itself probably its own arcanist workshop. There are several tables strewn about the room. On each one, you can see various different tools for scrying, research. There are tomes, journals, research journals, all types of scientific equipment, alchemical equipment, or some type of equipment that seems to be a bridge between science and magic, all kind of spread throughout the room. You also see several religious daises kind of spread throughout the room, pledging to various deities of knowledge, artifacts pertaining to lost civilizations. This is very much like the Smithsonian Museum of Magical History kind of vibe going on in this room. Caden opens the door and kind of politely motions for you all to funnel in, followed by his associates, and then after a few minutes, the two who remain downstairs to gather refreshment come back up. There is a large center table decorating the main interior portion of the room, and there are several chairs kind of circularly spread around it, and he motions for all of you to sit. And in front of each chair, there would be a series of scrolls and documents. He takes a seat that would be basically farthest from the door so that he can keep an eye on whoever comes in and out. Everybody can roll a perception check real quick to see if you notice anything unique about the room.
21.
Huh?
Am I into?
8.
Yeah, you were brought up with everybody.
10.
10. 8.
21.
You'll notice something.
15.
You'll also notice something.
3.
You notice the floor.
I have been drinking.
So the 15, which
Is that tile?
was that a natural one? It wasn't crowded.
Okay, then.
Here we
I've
go,
seen
baby.
the stonework of these
Did that earlier,
floors.
we're good.
So you would notice that there are hundreds of arcane runes that have been disguised in the woodworking of the room. So in the floorboards, in the walls, in the tables themselves, the actual grain and knots that are natural to the wood have actually been magically shaped to produce magical and arcane markings and runes. The Loquacia Arcana is draconic, so you would recognize these as the common eye would dismiss them as just the standard grain and pattern of wood, but you would recognize that this is actually a draconic language that has been manipulated into the wood.
So is he gonna kill us?
No, I mean none of you have really particularly sensed violence. I mean, he's
Oh no, I'm just reading the language. Are these offensive spells?
no, these would be wards to protect from being scryed upon.
Nice.
So you You can make a spellcraft
Much
roll.
the
It's
opposite.
actually to identify the spell. You're looking for a 22.
Nope.
You have no idea what the
14.
spell is. You would recognize that the base literature is to cast protection, and to prevent like prying eyes and things like that, unwanted eyes from looking into this place. You two would also see on top of that all of the pedestals which contain the dais to a like knowledge-based deity have active offerings on them. So they're being prayed to, and their guidance and knowledge is being sought after actively, like right now. There's incense burning, there are sacred oils, the statues have been anointed. This is a very fresh offering being taken place. He was probably doing this just before coming downstairs. All right?
Is there like a finite number of deities or a specific set of deities?
There is 4 pedestals in total, each of them pertaining to a different pantheon. So you would recognize. Do you have knowledge religion?
I acknowledge everything.
Well, feel free to roll a knowledge religion.
See, now all I want to know is what kind of floors these are, because these floors are nice.
11, 12,
Hardwood,
13.
maybe?
That appears to be a 13.
13. All right. So you.
Basically, I'm just trying to see if my religion's being represented, which is Agutis.
So you wouldn't recognize anything from that.
Would
but
I,
you would probably recognize, being a arcane caster, you'd probably recognize Thoth, who's the Egyptian goddess of knowledge. He has a pedestal here. There are some others, but they don't necessarily seem to be like master crafted or like, their depictions are meant to be more of an offering in itself rather than accurate depictions. Does that make sense?
I get what you. It's more of effigy than anything else.
After
like a stone idol.
Yeah, got it.
After I'm done looking at the floor, do I see Tyr as one of the people?
No.
Well, back to the floor.
Wow,
It's a nice
that is
floor.
some nice grout work.
Yeah.
That almost looks like
Immaculate
draconic if I didn't
craftsmanship.
know anything.
What do I find? Dust. You find dust.
Thank you.
Those dust buddies.
All right.
Holy crap, is that
So-
skin particular?
I'm assuming you each take a place at the table. You would recognize that the parchment has, in the common dialect, basically the proceedings of some type of legal document as you sit down. So just kind of quickly looking over what's in front of you, you can tell this would basically be the terms of your employment. There are 12 spaces at this table. So there's the 7 of you, his 4 associates, and himself. His 4 associates kind of spread out, so that basically whoever kind of invited you is sitting next to you or sitting near you in some way. And they also have a contract in front of them, and they explain that the reason they're doing is so, since they have a little more experience with working with him, they're going to kind of like help you go through, what is the intended definition and what is the written definition of some of the things, in case it comes up.
So they're his attorneys, essentially.
Heretofore known as expendable.
Yes and no. They're not acting. They are not acting on his behalf. You would
Okay.
know this. They are representing themselves, but because they've worked with him in the past, they're extending the gesture of, if you are confused by this, I will help you.
Okay, so they're not in
Pro
any way
bono.
tied to this.
Huh?
They're in no way tied to like.
They're no way tied to your individual term of employment,
So-
and they have their own that they're getting ready to re-sign.
Did he have enough forethought to write mine in Draconic?
He did.
Oh, good. It's all good then. I like this guy. Smart man.
Good
Cheer-
answer.
cheer to
Flip coin.
So he motions for you all to come to the table, and then you all seat, and he begins to talk. Welcome, friends. This journey of mine has been in the works for some time, and I would hope you appreciate the level of discretion that I have gone through to not only protect this room and to protect my interests, but also to protect you as well. There are several individuals here in the city and several other individuals outside the city who would love to see this quest fail, and unfortunately they will go to many lengths to see that it does, including take your life. But with that, let's get started. You've all been invited here for a very specific reason. I have spent countless years searching for very powerful artifact in a place that is lost to the world. And I have spent my life's fortune on this quest, and have, in 7 past attempts, failed every time. And now it has come to my attention that maybe I'm doing this wrong. And instead of launching a full expedition, I should be rather employing a fewer set of skilled hands to assist me. In the past, my first expedition numbered about 800 individuals, and only one of them returned. And he gestures to Mithras, who, for those of you who don't know, Mithras is a high elf who looks to be some type of wizard, sorcerer. And since then, he has become my apprentice and has worked with me by my side for many years. The other 6 expeditions have all also failed in their own right, but alas, I was the only survivor. He kind of takes a moment to reflect upon his failures before he brings new information to the table. And he goes, in front of each of you are the terms of your employment. The contract is not magically binding, but should you break the terms, I will know. There will be no repercussion, save for my knowledge.
Huzzah! Come on.
So
Wrong
he
reaction.
kind of gives
Wrong
you a
reaction.
minute to look over the document properly.
No repercussions.
Yawa Nakamori signs without reading and slides it over to him.
Bold move. He takes it, and he does like a closing motion with his hand, and the document vanishes.
Now,
What does the document
Vord
say?
does the same thing. He's just like, yeah, whatever.
I've taken the last couple days reading this, correct?
Yes.
Just going over it over and over again.
Yes. So you would actually remember that he had another cleric here, cleric from the Church of Mithras.
Yes.
Here, who was basically kind of like helping him draft the documents and getting an understanding of the verbiage to be used. Do you share that information with the party, or do you bring it up at all?
I might have mentioned it to this man, but otherwise, or this kobold. But otherwise, I don't know them very well yet, so
Okay.
I'm probably going to keep the information mostly close, unless they ask for it, of course.
Okay. Well, he, after giving everybody a moment, and then once he collects yours and Borg's, he explains, and he continues. There is currently in the city a Church of Mithras. For those of you who don't know, Mithras is a patron deity of trade, crafting, and social skills. And I have deposited a great deal of money there. And upon signing this document, you'll be given a receipt for withdrawal, and that will be your signing bonus. Do not keep the money here in case you're trying to steal from me. You'll have to go to the church to get it.
So we can steal from the church. I like this thinking.
That,
You just said that right next to the wrong guy.
that, we might have to discuss this a little bit.
Which I would never do.
Awake.
Okay, so he would also explain. The Church of Mithras was involved in drafting the contract. They are religiously bound by creed and practice to notify me should the terms of the contract be broken. This will be a form of insurance to protect my interests. The current sign-on bonus is 150 gold coins. You can spend it on whatever you like, whatever makes you happy. But we depart the city in 5 days' time. You're welcome to stay here. In the meantime, I have arranged for each of you to have individual rooms should you sign the contract and join up with me in my room. He kind of waits for anybody to ask some questions.
Yeah.
I've noticed in our conversations that the location seems to be a bit all over the place.
Ah, yes.
I agree
Where
with
are we
this.
actually going? Or at least what direction?
Excellent question. So he conjures a world map, very similar to this one, in the center of the table. And he would point out that currently you are here in Bard's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
The ultimate goal is to travel here to the burning wastes, to the lost city of Sen. It is there in the lost city that I believe this artifact rests. However, I have never been able to find the lost city itself, and therefore I've never been able to accomplish my goal. I've tried 7 times in the past to find the city, and all of them have failed, so I am having a slight change of agenda. Rather than searching for the city itself, I'm going to be inquiring into those who have sought the city in the past and found whether or not they have been successful or not, following old breadcrumbs, you see. My immediate companions, Vorg, Mithras, Valorian, Reverend Mallory, we're going to be going to the Wizard's Wall. We have a lead there, in an old library, we believe, that hopefully will give us some new information. We will be leaving under the cover of darkness and in secret. You 7 will be traveling due north to the city of Glavir, just off this river here. And so he basically gestures to this river coming down from the Deathwood, just north of the Dragon Hills. You would be familiar with this region. And Glavir is a decent-sized town. It's not a full-on city, but it is. It does have a wooden palisade around it. Probably population of about 5,000 people.
Could I get the name of that?
Pretty large.
That's pretty
G-
large for a medieval. Well, I mean, it's medieval fantasy.
Well,
G-
I mean,
A-
Bard's
I-
Gate has a population of anywhere between 50 and 250,000.
Glaville?
So this isn't Londinium,
Good.
but it is a good
Okay.
sized town. And also remember, not all of those individuals reside in the town itself, but they're like
There's been a
farmers
couple
on the
of
way
things.
woods
Sorry about that.
and
No,
the
no,
land
no.
around.
It's for the
So if you guys are going to pursue
We're better.
breadcrumbs elsewhere, we're going to be convening as we make our way towards, or meet you at that location.
Well, that depends on the information we gain. There is a lead in Glavir that I will be disclosing to you after you've all, or whoever signs the contract. I cannot have this information falling into my opponent's hands, so I would hope you understand that I'm reluctant to share anything without you being contractually bound to my agreements.
Understand. What does my contract say?
Huh?
What does my contract say?
Do you have profession barrister?
Um,
Just if the answer is no, then just make a straight intelligence roll. Just d20 plus your intelligence.
7.
You have no fucking idea. You're
a 2, baby.
Yeah, this is
That's
as far
a
as you're
2.
concerned, this is a lot of legal mumbo jumbo that ultimately means that you're employed by this guy.
Okay, I asked Malthus what does this basically mean then? Like, is he
TLDR.
gonna help
Oh,
me
yes.
with my memory.
Oh, excellent question, sir. So the contract isn't necessarily negotiating pay or anything like that, but in fact it's basically a promise that any information you find pertaining to our quest you don't share with other people. The only information you will share pertaining to our quest for the lost city of Sen is information that you share with either myself or our colleagues or Caden himself.
I can do that.
Same question. I'm gonna roll the insight on my
So sense
document. No, I'm gonna insight to read the document. I'm doing an in check to see what mine says.
Oh, okay, yeah. Insight is
Yeah.
the sense motive of 4th edition.
Right, but I'm not in fact doing an insight. I just meant literally the term insight, like to.
Oh, all right, yeah, go for it. Throw
Yeah.
it.
Wonderful. 4.
You noticed the floor.
Look at the
This
floor.
is some
Oh, this is
really
awesome.
nice draconic. In fact,
penny
this
sheet.
might be the most proper draconic you've ever read.
This draconic is so beautiful. I have to put my name on it.
As somebody who speaks Draconic, we all know that that's not a high bar.
All right.
Anyway,
So,
Don't
yeah,
worry,
the
it's
basic
anything
the basic terms of the contract
I
are
have no comeback. That was better.
any information you find
I need a healing
regarding the
potion.
city of Sen,
Quick
or,
cure my
and you
wounds.
also notice this, both of you, and Melthus would disclose this to you, the actual name of the artifact he is searching for is not listed in the contract. But any information you find regarding to the city or its contents, you will not share with anyone except Caden or those he deems necessary. Basically, whoever has the needs to know, he will share the information with, and you will be informed of who that is.
that's fine.
Does this have any connection to the item that was requested I search for, or is this a separate search on top of the item I was requested to look for?
Well, they had some spell, components stolen from them.
Yes.
And that is a very, very low level thing compared to this. This is in no way, shape, or form associated with their missing stuff.
Fully aware. Just making sure that that's not connected to this somehow.
I mean, it's connected in the sense that they needed to make use of all this magic stuff behind them. But, and they can buy more if they absolutely need to.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So, you guys are at the meeting. So far, only Vorg and you have signed the document.
He'll learn my name eventually.
I'm gonna butcher it every
Tori?
time, and I don't want to culturally appropriate it. I had to look at it. I don't remember.
Since I've gone over,
Yawa Nakamori.
There you go.
There we go.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna try.
Cast different languages.
All right. Yeah, I'm a charisma.
I'm about to use magical
Well,
device.
because I've actually studied the document for so long, I'm actually just going to, after rereading it one last time, just to go over it again, sign my name and hand it to the wizard.
All right, cool. Yeah, so same as the other ones. He grabs it and then kind of does a closing motion with his other fist, and the document vanishes.
Mhm.
He does nod to you. Thank you. He kind of continues with the explanation. So the Church of Mithras is holding some money in escrow. You guys are welcome to withdraw it. After you've signed the document, he'll pass out some just basic like bank notes / old-fashioned
generic
checks.
placard almost.
Yeah, placard to basically authorize the withdrawal under your name. Then he consents to it, that kind of stuff. And it's your money. You can do what you want with it. He did say that your caravan will be leaving in 5 days. And so you're basically acting as a decoy to leave the city and make it look like you're part of, Caden's next expedition. You'll be traveling north to the city of Glavier, and then a few days after, he and the other associates will be leaving under the cover of darkness to head to the Wizard's Wall.
And he's explained that we're after a particular artifact, correct?
Yes, but he has not named the artifact.
Okay, that's fine.
He has just given you
But we have heard of the city of Zen, right?
Sen, yes.
Sen.
Sen.
Okay.
And
But-
you guys, if you would like to roll a knowledge local or a knowledge history to know about that city, you may.
Right. So I'm
You're not allowed
gonna
to use my.
say to him in
You're
character.
not allowed to do that.
No, show me.
So the items we
I'm
pick
never gonna
up
get
along
invited.
our travels, should we happen
Guys,
to
we're having a character aside here. Please pay attention.
items that we pick up along the way that are not in the said specified contract are fair game, Cobalt?
Yes. He says that anything that you find along the way is yours to keep. He has no interest in any money or magic items you find.
So you're only after one particular item.
Yes, I am only after the artifact.
And you
Now,
only ask
slip
one
him the
particular person
contract.
for knowledge history, knowledge local.
Everybody can roll a history
Yeah.
or local to see if they recall anything about the city of Zen.
I'll slip him my contract
Uh,
twice.
question mechanically for the game.
Okay.
No,
Pause
and-
that. I'm going to come back to
Okay.
you. What's your question?
Normally in 3.5 I remember, because this is based off of it, that unless you have training in that, you can't roll that, correct?
So it's slightly different in Pathfinder.
Okay.
You can use it untrained. It's just the highest you can get is a 10. So
Oh, okay, so
and
it's
that's
just-
I believe that is specific to knowledge skills specifically.
Okay. All right. So if you roll a 20, it's still just a 10?
Unless you have a rank in it, yes.
Okay.
So if we spend
So
two
not just
ranks to
trained,
get
but
one
get
rank in
rank
it,
Yeah.
we can
Well,
roll.
There's no more cross-class penalties. Instead, you get a bonus for building into your class skills. So in this case, hypothetically, you don't have knowledge local
Right.
as a class skill, right? So you decide you want to start looking into that because this is a very research-driven
Mhm.
campaign. There's no more 2-to-1 cost
Right.
for spending your skill points.
So it's just 1-to-1.
It's 1-to-1. However, you do not get an additional +3 bonus to non-class skills. That's going to be detailed in the skill section of
Where's the
Forward.
+3 come from?
This is the offset for a couple of different things. Remember in 3.5,
Mm-hmm.
the number of ranks you could have in a skill was equal to your class level +2.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, it's just the number of ranks you can have in a skill equals your class level.
Okay.
Right? So then in this case, they give an additional bonus of the +3, which stacks with everything. It's an untyped bonus. That is the offset to not having a penalty. So in 3.5, cross-classing, you cross-classed at a penalty. Your regular skills, no penalty, net 0. In this, there is no cross-class penalty, but when you do allocate ranks to class skills, you get an additional +3 bonus.
Right. So, for instance, my bluff is a 4 for charisma, 2 ranks. So the most I can bluff is a 16 +3 because I'm proficient in it.
No,
Because you have ranks.
'Cause I have ranks.
that's not how that works at all.
Where's the +3 come from?
Is bluff a class skill for a sorcerer?
Yes.
Then you have in the miscellaneous column,
Okay. Gotcha.
put a 3,
Gotcha.
right?
It makes it 19.
Well, no, because it's not a knowledge skill, so whatever you roll is what you roll. Only on knowledge skills, if you're not trained in it, the highest you can get to 10.
Gotcha.
That's to represent, like, you can't effectively perform a lobotomy 5% of the time, right?
You can give it a good try though.
Right? Because that would mean, like, 5% of the time I'm going to roll a 20, and the DC for a serious procedure is a 20. So 5% of the time I'm a fucking doctor. No, it's not how it works. The highest you can get in knowledge skills is 10. If you're not trained in it. If you're trained in it, it can be as fucking high as you want. It can be as high as Steve right now. But
Things we can't say on YouTube.
it's a joke.
He has a medical card.
I mean, I do, so we're good.
So we're making fun of a medical condition?
He could have been high on life. Nobody would have known the wiser.
Look at that. Look at that guy.
He is high on life.
But one,
anyway,
final, one final clarification. on
Yeah.
that. As long as we have at least
Smoking
one
cereal.
rank in our class skill, we get that
Quit
+3.
smoking cereal.
yes, at least
Okay.
one rank.
Be a lot of cuts in this video.
Yeah.
You can totally put that on YouTube.
Anyway,
that's totally
I mean, as long as
for
he
my
quits it,
knowledge,
yeah.
local 25.
Thank you.
Thank you for the +3.
Yeah. You also rolled a knowledge local and got a 27? 27. Okay, so you two would know that the lost city of Send is somewhere up here in the Burning Wastes. A long time ago, the city was destroyed in some type of explosion or teleportation accident. You don't know why. The city is lost because the remains were really never found. People who venture into the Burning Wastes very seldomly return, and this kind of correlates with the fact that he's done 7 previous expeditions and all of them have failed. You're not too sure why, but there are rumors of, like, mutated animals, mutated plants, creatures with 5 heads and tentacles, foxes that shoot webs like spiders. Like, it's a very, very weird place. And so people who venture there are, like, driven insane. They begin to mutate. Most of the mutations result in death. And at the end of the day, it's just not a very nice place to be.
And
Sounds
we're
fun.
not going there first.
Well, yes. What he's explained so far is that rather than going and searching for the city itself, he wants to try to pick up on the trail of other people who have sought the city and trying to find out what they know. So, he has told you that there's a lead in Glavir. He hasn't said what the lead is, but you can ask him specifically or search for the lead yourself when you get there. So far, that specific bit of information hasn't been released yet. There was one more thing that I put on hold. I think it was with Blake. Did you have a question?
Oh no, you clarified it. It's on the +3 stuff.
Question. And then, so then you were having...
Wait, so I get a +3 on everything that's knowledge-based, correct?
That you have ranks in.
Oh, I
if
have.
you have a rank in
ranks
it
pretty
for your
much every
class
single
skills.
one.
Yeah, class
Well,
skills,
wizards,
not just knowledge.
Wizards get all knowledge skills
All
as a
of
class
them.
skill.
That makes a lot
Oh, I
of
do
sense.
So do summons.
Okay, so, yes, he clarifies with your point.
Right.
Yeah, I have no interest in anything money-wise that you may find. Everything you may keep what you kill.
language is he speaking?
When he addresses you, Draconic.
Okay.
Because you've requested that from him. Oh. So anybody who speaks Draconic would be able to understand this side conversation. I also have no interest in any magic items you find. However, my armory has grown shallow of late, as I've needed to liquidate assets in order to fund this project. So I may offer to buy certain things from you if you have no other buyer. But for now, you may keep what you kill. for I have no other way of paying your salary.
Okay.
Payment enough? Survival of the fittest, kobold.
Do we have a means to contact you?
Yes. That will be supplied tomorrow morning.
Okay.
I go ahead and sign it and hand it
Cool.
I finished
Under your
looking-
contract, there's also like a little subcontract for your wolf.
Here's Bill Palmer.
Oh,
Just a little puppet.
gotta dip some ink
in.
in there.
I'll sign that.
Alright.
I signed mine. and-
Subcontract on my contract.
No, because yours is legally bound to you, magically bound to you. Hers is.
With disrespect.
You can write it in if you want.
The indolence is preserved, but I'm all for this. It's what I bond. He's doing it by pure contract.
Alright.
Cyanide.
Actually, I put an X where the signature should be, and I hand it back.
Where your signature should be, or the adult?
Where my signature should be. Yeah, make my mark, and hand it over.
Roll diplomacy.
One diplomacy coming right up. That is charisma
He
based.
is a diplomancer.
My least favorite.
So this can only be as high as a 10.
Lawyers.
Diplomacy is not one of my trained skills.
Then yes, it's just die roll plus your ability modifier.
So that's going to be an 18.
Okay. He looks confused for a moment. Doesn't press the subject. Vanishes the contract. Question?
I'll wait to talk to him before we all leave.
So you want to pull him aside?
Yeah.
Privately. Okay.
Yeah.
And these people in their
Do
private
you sign the contract?
I already did, yeah. I signed it over and handed it over.
Alright, so then it sounds like it's just
You finished giving it a once over, and everything kind of matches up with pretty much all he wants is the artifact. Everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah, I mean, the contract does not include how you guys divvy divvy up those resources. So he's expecting you to all be
Then I
working
will
together for the most part. But
Sign it and I hand it to him.
alright, so with that, you can see that the contract vanishes in the same way all the others have. Melthus, Borg, Glorian Fane, and Reverend Mallory all have also signed theirs, and re-surrendered them to Caden. He then kind of nods for Melthus and Mallory, and they stand up. You can see Melthus, the wizard, he kind of goes around and starts activating some of those magical protection runes in the room. And he casts some type of spell. Anyone with spellcraft can roll to see if they recognize this. VC's 22.
Nope.
So,
21.
Some
Got
nice
22.
schoolwork.
22.
21.
Take it high.
13.
DC was 22.
21.
Alright. So you two, with my 221s, you kind of recognize it. You would definitely recognize this as a screen spell, which magically hides this area from basically anything weaker than a deity. Like any mortal magic attempting to pry into this room right now, it is going to conjure a separate illusion. You're not really going to be sure what that separate illusion is. It's probably just going to be an empty room, or some other type of information that could be like false information, like a false destination for the expedition. But they are magically concealing the area from prying eyes. And then Reverend Mallory goes to the door, double checks the hall, everything like that. He, takes a moment to step out. He brings back in some of the refreshments that were ordered from downstairs, so he probably intercepted the barmaid from before and then closes the door behind him. Galorian also goes and checks a window at the far side of the room, make sure it's sturdy and locked, closes some shutters. Basically, you guys get the feel that they're getting ready to talk about specific information, and so they're making sure no unwanted ears are listening.
Has meat been provided?
Can you say that again?
Has meat been provided?
Yes.
Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Have any
What's
other party favors come about?
Did you request any specifically?
I did talk to a couple, as I said, I talked to some of the less notable wait staff about getting some powdery substances. I'm about to take 5 days travel at some point. And,
They
I need to
haven't.
start stocking up.
They haven't produced it yet, but you notice that they were
Okay.
getting on that.
They're working on it.
They're
Yeah,
working on it.
I'll take that.
All right.
You just let me know when they're done working on it, and I will deduct.
Got a nice paycheck too. I mean, that's
I haven't got that money yet, but I still got a little pocket change.
So, the first thing he does is he kind of conjures into his hand 7 new placards. Now, this is the bank withdrawal note. He passes them out to each of you so that you all have now access to the money that he's kind of set aside for this. It does say that it is for 150 gold coins, and it is in your name. And the same signature that you've applied to the document is the one that is on this withdrawal notice. Yours is an X. It is not your actual name.
That works for me.
so
My best friends call me Cash.
So you each have those. The notice does expire. It expires the day after you're due to leave the city, which you guys would know is in 5 days. So if you don't withdraw the money by then, you forfeit any claim to it. So you have to all kind of take a moment to look it over. He calls the other individuals back to the table and begins to explain the deeper nature of the quest. I'm glad you've all signed. My list of allies has grown thin in the years of late. But to have some fresh blood will be a welcome sight. What you all have agreed to undertake is a daring task, and should you choose to back out one day and no longer risk your life, I will not seek any type of recourse against you. The contract is not binding until death. Only the information you find, should you surrender that to anybody other than myself or anybody else at this table, will I be notified. Within the lost city of Sen, I believe the Sword of Air rests.
The what?
The Sword of Air.
Is that
Can I roll a knowledge for that?
A-I-R.
A-I-R, as in the elements, the elemental type. Everyone can roll a knowledge history.
This time.
Let's start on this side of the table.
19.
19.
6.
16, but you said if we didn't have ranks in it, the most we could roll is a 10, correct? Right, so 10.
22.
7.
Oh,
21.
7.
Alright, you guys have never heard of this before.
I only rolled a 10.
Oh, I rolled a 21. That's pretty terrible.
So, he continues. After you guys kind of take a minute to, not a whole minute, but take a second to reflect upon the name. The Sword of Air is an incredibly powerful artifact, and I seek to claim it for personal reasons. It has been my life's research to find the blade. I do intend to put it to use. It is to save my wife. She is currently dying, and I believe that the only way to save her is by use of this sword.
It has healing properties.
And the divine power that lies within. The sword itself is rumored to contain a powerful entity who has the ability to grant wishes. I believe it to be an imprisoned jinn, or genie, or a freak of some kind. But much stronger than those of legend you've heard in the past. The clerics and the clergy in their divine wisdom have declined any sort of magical healing, and so I believe this to be the only way to rescue her. Even my own arcane prowess has failed in the attempts to rejuvenate her. It will not be an easy task. To say that you would have my thanks should you complete it would be an understatement. But should you successfully find the sword or any trace of it in your endeavors, you will be rewarded handsomely. The nature of the reward has not been written into the contract, because I will use my best judgment to reward you upon your return. I do have an extensive collection of magical items, though it is not what it used to be. and I will gladly liquidate them in order to pay you individual coin if that is what you wish. Also, the boon of a powerful wizard of myself is and of its a reward as well. The secrecy of this quest is of the utmost importance. I have a rival outside the city by a wizard of the name of Sorton. We used to be friends once, but in recent years he has fallen to darker, more vile magics, and I believe if he was to find the sword, it would result in a calamitous union of power.
Would you say, perhaps, that if he had an alignment, it would be an evil alignment?
He is most assuredly evil. He is a purveyor of necromancy and demonic arts now. He seeks the sword to empower himself and potentially use it to conquer most of the world, similar to the Hyperborean Empire of old.
Well, then he must be stopped.
Most assuredly.
Slain, perhaps.
Even better.
Cobalt.
Off with his head, even.
I do not know where Sorton currently lies, though his network of spies and mercenaries is extensive.
What does he look like?
He is a human. He is much younger than myself, probably now about the age of 34, 35, just coming out of his prime. But do not let that fool you. His arcane prowess rivals that of the elder archmages of our coven.
Wizard?
He is an archwizard, yes.
Do you think he has more clues? Or has maybe gotten closer?
I do believe so. We've encountered his mercenaries north of the Wizard's Wall. They were up there searching for an old temple of Frey, though we do not know the exact location of the city nor the temple itself that they were searching for. We believe that the Sun God's temple is in some way connected to stories about the sword. We've also encountered their spies in Ream, here in Bard's Gate, and over in the various cities of Blipnos. He has many allies, many of them powerful, many of them flies, though it is not their martial prowess that I fear, it's their ability to eavesdrop.
What color hair does he have?
It was black the last time I remembered. Though illusions and glamours could have changed that. If he was to approach you himself, he would most definitely be in disguise, as to fool you into relinquishing some type of information about the sword.
No disguise getting past these eyes. Cobalt.
Sorton is S-O-R-T-O-N.
Wink.
S-O-R-T-E-N.
Sorton.
That's okay, we'll sort it out.
Nice. What exactly melodies your wife?
You can't just ask a man what melodies is
That
like.
man is a learned healer. I think he could.
I am a cleric. I would wonder about the disease his wife is inflicted with.
I do not know.
No such thing as subtlety.
It is a unique illness.
It's a shame.
As such, I do not believe it to be within the means of divine magic. We have tried to have her healed, and many attempts have failed, and many more attempts have resulted in no.
I, too, have a wife, Cobalt. We will sympathize with you. Rescue your wife.
Wait a minute. Is your wife a Kobo?
No. Maybe? No. That's personal. Wow. You can't ask a man whose wife
Well,
it is.
I'm pretty sure that Cobalt,
What are you,
killer of Kobolds, did
speciesist?
not kill his Kobold wife. Last thing I need is the Kobold version of the Fugitive going on.
I am Gauss.
I didn't
the
Kobold my wife.
killer of kobolds.
I don't care.
But the nature of my wife is not up for question at the moment.
Yamanaka
Kobold.
Mori finally tones up to the kobold. Didn't you just ask, in Draconic by the way, didn't you just ask what ails his wife?
No, that was
He did. And what language are you speaking?
Draconic.
Oh, okay. Well then, that was him, Smooth Skin.
Ooh, ooh,
Ah.
ooh. We might have to get. Dylan might take offense. I'm about to lose XP, ladies and gentlemen.
That's a 50
Thank you.
DKP minus.
Wait, TKP?
DKP, Dragon Kill. It's a World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
I don't.
Lightning upon us.
I did it in high school.
It was the last time too. All right, so yeah, enough of the insults.
She sounds like a guinea pig.
You done?
Nope.
Would
Okay,
you call yourself human?
I'm out.
The name's Yawa Nakamura, and you best remember it.
Believe it!
Another 10 XP.
Who's gonna be so bored after this?
I was thinking of it. That's amazing.
So many levels.
It's not
Just on the
return.
joke.
We're gonna be like a level
Anime
16.
Every time
24?
was just believe it, because he was going to be Hokage. Believe it.
Oh god.
You're good sport.
I tried to be.
All right, yeah. So
Anyway.
you guys all introduce yourselves. I'm assuming there's these two.
For the most
smooth
part.
skin people, yeah.
They call me Mr. Coltrane.
Really? Okay.
I'm gonna spell it how Grandir would think.
You
Mr.
introduce
Cold
yourself.
Train. Gotcha.
I don't know how that's spelled.
We need at least a name.
You can call me Issa.
Issa. Mm-hmm.
And your companion?
Is it here?
It's with you.
Oh.
You're not leaving an armored wolf roaming the city.
I mean, why not?
I mean, it's a smart animal.
Yo, and Nakamura.
I can hear
Ish.
this.
Yawa Nakamura.
Yeah, smart enough to know that
Y-A-
anything smaller than medium is delicious.
It's edible.
N-A-K.
I'm Issa, and this is
Wait,
Asher.
I'm smaller than medium.
Asher?
Asher.
Asher. Alright.
Excellent.
What's your name?
My
Now,
name's Van.
to continue,
Asher.
he kind of brings order to the table.
And then Issa.
Alright.
Bella goes by Isa.
You, 7, will be traveling to Glavia, which is just north of the Dragon Hills and is east of the Stonehaunt Mountains. You two would be very familiar with the area. He continues to say, in Glavia, we have heard rumor that there is an old temple of Frey. We believe this to be the one that Sorton was searching for originally. Though it is odd, slightly suspicious, that the Norsemen would have built a temple to their sun god this far south. You will not find any of my allies there. Unfortunately, what remains will have to come with me to the Wizard's Wall. Though I trust you all to put your best detective skills to work, and should you need to do favors to gain access to the temple, you are allowed to do so. But please remember that your purposes for being there should be purely academic. Do not desecrate any soldiers who may be buried there, such. If information about the sword should be gained from opening up some sarcophagi, please allow our cleric here to do so with the utmost
We must, of course, respect the dead.
respect and delicate touch.
We must use the religious crowbar.
Of course.
The
I like that.
Holy
temple,
cow.
Someone call that a pray bar.
the temple should hold
Boy.
some valuable information. There is one other lead we have, though I do not know where it is. There is rumored to be a book. I do not know its title, though it is bound in leather derived from a northern desert, so maybe some type of dialion or rhinoceros hide. Within the pages of this tome are a detailed list of directions and ciphers that should lead to the lost city. I know it exists through my visions and in my dreams of late. The book has come to me, though I do not know where it lies. Keep an eye out, for if you find a book of such detail, or as I've described, it may be an important clue.
Big,
Yes, a very massive tome.
large though.
Yes, something akin to a tome of a religious order's creed or a divine pact of sorts. The language, the native language to ancient Sen, has been lost. So if you do not recognize the dialect or the script of such book, that may be a clue as to its importance to the city.
Do you know the dialect it's in?
It would be in Sen.
In Sin?
Sen. The city itself had its own common language. So if you don't recognize the language of the book, that may be a clue that this is the book you're looking for.
Gotcha. No, I got it.
Yeah.
Arguably, my character hearing this information would clearly state, it's like, there's hundreds of languages I don't know.
This is very true. However, with the aid of magic, you could divine the type of language.
I mean, could you just do me the favor of writing down 3 or 4 key letters of that language, so
I
that
could
way I
describe
might be
the
able to
whole alphabet.
identify it?
Yes, I'm adept in the dialect.
The
I've
quote
made it into
unquote
How do you
version
know?
of their letter E, perhaps, because it's the most commonly used letter in the language.
Yes. I've studied the language through the aid of magic and divining, and with my skills as an arcane caster, I've allowed myself to learn the language permanently. Which, if you want to roll any kind of check to question that, you're more than welcome to.
Nope. Cannot.
Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, he basically explains, like,
I
you would kind of gather that he's effectively, he could have permanency comprehend language, he could have wished to know the language. Like, a wizard of this power level has, like, many options in order to be able to learn that.
Or just
Why not
learn
just
it.
wish to see?
Yeah, or just
know
learn
the
A
location?
the
is there a
spell
reason
wish
it
is
says
less
lost?
powerful than the Afreet granted wishes.
I didn't
Got it.
say it,
But I could see it on your face.
but I wasn't going to say it.
Well, I mean, his wishes have failed.
Yeah. No, I got that. He said it.
Yeah, all of his arcane prowess is not curing whatever ails his wife. Are there any other questions?
Just one question, and I don't want you to take this the wrong way, good arcane man, but have you tried just letting her pass away and hiring on a good necromancer?
He does take offense to that.
I meant no offense by it. I'm merely getting as much information as possible about the current situation.
I would not subject my wife to such vile actions.
Fair enough.
That would be something more of Sorton's doing.
And he has black hair. It's evil. It's a symbolism. Black hair. Come out.
And we all
I have a high
But
intelligence.
my character has black hair, so I'm
Yeah,
apparently
and I'm looking
suspicious
at
now.
you.
Yeah, I mean,
Does mine.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, but I don't know that you're wearing a hood.
All right.
Point hats are mysterious things.
He's got a point. I like him.
Are there any other questions?
don't look directly at me. I'll ask one.
Yes.
Cobalt?
That was not a question.
Okay.
It was just a statement listed at the end.
Come on. Cobalt.
All right. Well,
Oh, actually, one question: will we be given carriages to ride, or will we must purchase them?
you will be traveling as foot, as far as I'm concerned. If you wish to purchase a carriage, that's up to you.
I have one question, politically. I'm told that there are ash vampires in the mountains nearby, Cobalt. Do they have any alignment that we cannot, any agreement, arrangement, in which case we cannot slay them as well, Cobalt?
What are you talking about?
Ash vampires
Should we
in the
defend
mountains.
our lives from ash
Can we, end them?
or let them kill us?
You may defeat any foe necessary to find information about the sword, but be merciful.
I'm really
kill
keen
them
up.
quick.
Mercy kills, alright.
Hey,
for
I'm
this
awful
guy.
good, but I got a two-handed weapon. It ain't gonna be very merciful.
Yeah.
Do not trust this lizard fellow.
I find him fascinating.
Okay.
Yeah,
So he
totally.
dismisses himself from the buffoonery and goes back to researching.
I take another drink and then head out the door.
That explains the buffoonery.
You look like you knew me.
Ah, yes. You slightly look like somebody I knew in my younger years.
your friend brought me here. I figured if I helped you with whatever you had
Probably.
asked me to do, you would help me. I have no memory of anything.
Odd ailment.
Anything. The last thing I remember is falling. I landed up in a house, and I
No, if
ran.
you can't heal
And
us,
you're
I
We're
heard
not
about
gonna help
that.
you.
Yes,
Oh,
the
you-
Archduchess,
Ah.
the Duchess's mana.
Yeah,
there was
yeah,
an
useless
incident.
wizard here. You know, like what the hell? My wizard's my.
Interesting. All right. Well, I can help you, but it will take some time. Should you return from Glavier, I will gladly aid you.
Fine. I'm gonna turn around and walk away.
Well, would you like to roll any kind of check to maybe?
Oh yeah, sure. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay, so first off, you got to declare what you're rolling before you roll.
Well, she said it. Sense mode. I was like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Flop. It's okay. I rolled a 10 on the
say
die.
I'm going to roll the sense motive.
That's a sense motive.
And now roll it.
Oh, you want me to re-roll it? I can re-roll
Just
it. if
keep
you
the
want me to.
10. What did you get?
12.
Alright, so as far as you're concerned, he just doesn't have the necessary spells to help you prepped, and he's more or less focusing on finding the sword. So, referencing the contract, where if you help him, he'll be more than happy to help you. Should you learn anything valuable in Glavier, he'll use magic to try to divine a little bit about your past.
Sounds good. Sounds right. Then I turn around and walk.
Alright, he goes back to what you would recognize as probably like some type of scrying pool, where he's trying to divine the location of something. You're not too sure what. Okay.
I'll ask Father Mallory. What's the climate like up there?
Gotta be a little more specific, lad. Where? What?
The direction we're heading.
Well, it's always colder to the north. You'll be looking at temperate climates.
Or temperate?
Cold in the mornings and evenings, cold at night, but warm during the day.
Okay.
You won't need heavy winters
Yeah.
gear or anything like that.
Sure.
You're not going up high to the mountains. Though if your quest should lead you there, please
Should
procure the proper clothing.
just in case. Yeah. All right.
Alright, so do we all leave together then? We all leave the same room at least?
I choose to not leave with the entire group.
Okay, so you hang back for a minute.
I've got people to talk to about things.
Yeah, that's where my room is.
You would have been greeted by Galorian Fane, so he shows you to the door, and he doesn't know a lot about you, so he's just kind of standard, like, oh yeah, it's down there. So he points it to you and then goes off by himself back downstairs to drink some more. You hang back,
Yep.
and Reverend Mallory approaches you and goes to shake your hand.
I give him the top, bottom, front. That's it.
Okay. When he closes his hand like that to go give you the fist bump, you notice that there was like a small pouch on the inside of his hand.
Oh,
And he kinda like shows
and then
you.
I throw into the
Yeah. So he.
I don't trust holy man.
Welcome to the Solar Bear, everyone. He passes you one dose of honey dust. I believe you are asking for this dose.
Yes. It'll get me through the rest of the search.
Cool. And he leaves, goes to his room.
One dose is a good start.
So we have a
I
couple
mean, he
days.
didn't charge you for
I
it.
get you. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'll
Freeze
go
free.
ahead and I guess I'll make my way to the city bank.
Would that
Yeah,
go
I-
downtown,
Mithras.
perhaps?
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I
so
would
city bank.
also like to make the travel there.
Okay. So
I'll go as well.
are you
Going to be
announcing that in
waiting
case
until
anybody
the
wants to travel
day
with
I
you?
was just gonna
before we
start
leave.
walking if
That
they
way I
followed
don't
us.
get
and-
pickpocketed in the meantime.
Yeah, but we need supplies.
So you've gone to your room.
It's not my fault.
Look at days.
Where have you gone?
I would
I saw like 100.
wait a
Sounds
little
good.
bit, and then I would proceed to go
I bought armor.
to the church to get the.
Okay, so you're not traveling with the group.
I'd stagger back to where I can see them. I see that they're traveling as a group, but I'm kind of just keeping pace.
That's back. Okay. And are you going to the bank as well?
No, I'm gonna wait till the last possible day in order to keep myself from getting pickpocketed.
Okay, so you're waiting. You're going. You guys are going. What about you?
I'm following him.
Going?
I like
so
this
it
guy.
Sounds like everybody's going except for
You like slaying
Isa
things?
and Mr. Coltrane.
For the righteous
Can I
too.
just call you Mr. C?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alright, Mr. C over here.
Wink.
Alright, so,
She was a mystery.
Mr. X. That kind of works better. Yeah, we'll see.
'Cause that's
Whatever
how
you prefer.
sign
Oh,
it.
God.
That's a preview. I'm not going to use it.
I signed it because
So-
I don't give magic users my real name because that's a device they can use in nefarious ways.
Name magic.
Roll spellcraft.
Spellcraft, you say?
Yeah.
I wonder if it would depend if I wrote it in Dwarves or
That
Common.
is going to be 27.
Okay, because you've touched the contract, and a lot of magical bindings also operate on things you've interacted with, you are correct. Because you have not surrendered your name, it will be a little harder for them to find you. But because they have a physical thing that you've interacted with, they could find you, but it would become more strenuous.
Yeah,
And you would
well,
know that.
Scrying is not what I'm so much worried about. It's more of the I'm a
Commands.
conjuration
Yeah.
summoner, so I understand the
Against
unwanted transport of human bodies requires a little more than something I touched.
Gotcha. All right, so the bulk of you travel through the city. It's still nighttime. You see a couple of guards out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They're going about
It's a great time to go
Nobody
get money.
has any type of weapon, or anything on this being blatantly displayed.
Oh, blatantly displayed. Yeah.
Of course, blatantly.
Except me.
If you have a writ. So, same with you. You get to the church. There are some individuals there who are tending to the more or less non-economic based duties of the church. So they're handing out things like
He
pea
said
soup
duty.
and stuff like that to the poor. You guys would all know, just as a very base knowledge of the Church of Mithras, they tend to be economically based. They are lawful neutral by religious creed. So they don't particularly care who is in the agreement. They are about upholding an agreement of all sorts. So in this case,
The Catholic
Caden
Church.
incorporating the Church of Mithras into the agreement is not only a should be a sign to you that this is, like, he's not asking you to do anything illegal. Otherwise, the church would have intervened when they were helping draft the contract. You would know that.
Mhm.
You would also know that if there would be any way for him to break the contract, the church would also be notified and you would be alerted. So in this case, they act kind of like a
They're checks and balances.
an
Mediator.
adjudicator over what's happening.
Good job, Lucky.
Huh?
He's already had enough. I said, don't break down into this. He's already had a rough enough time.
So
Also not going to allude to dog
the acolytes there, they welcome you. They ask you what your business is.
Here for a check.
Okay, they examine it for a second. They cast a spell over it, and then, very good, right this way. And they invite you inside. They have kind of like a very lavishly decorated private room for meetings here in the church. It's small, so it's probably only like a 10 by 10. It's much smaller than the room you just came from, but it is set out so that individuals of some importance can relax here while the church fetches their belongings, whether it be from like a deposit box or from a vault. You're all invited in as a group, as long as you travel together. Since you were a few, moments behind, you're asked to wait while a current transaction is being completed. And then when some time opens up, you'll be the next in line. And probably after about 10 minutes, a group of acolytes, each one carrying one leather bag, a coin purse basically, comes into the room and asks you to take this into your hand for a moment, and then while you're holding the money, they move their hand over the check, and the check is incinerated. And basically, they allow you to bear witness to you have been paid, and the check has been honored, and now they've destroyed it so that no duplicates or forgeries could be made from the one assigned to you specifically.
It was 150?
It was 150 gold pieces.
Alrighty.
You are welcome to count it. They have a scale here as well. in
As
case-
well.
A whale.
As well, in case you want to like weigh the coins and verify their legitimacy and all that kind of stuff. Make sure they haven't been shaved.
I would definitely do that as a dwarf. Just looking at every little piece.
Shave the
Okay.
edges. You would as a dwarf. Come on.
So your transactions are concluded. You're escorted out. You would notice him basically waiting in the temple, the main atrium kind of area, and then once you all depart, you are brought in for the exact same thing. After a few minutes, an acolyte comes back with a coin purse, asks you to hold it for a moment, and then once you've accepted the money, the check that you've brought to basically exchange for the money is incinerated in front of you. And they also use a very basic detection spell over the check itself to make sure it's not a forgery, fraudulent recreation, anything like that. You all also have you guys would also know your lodgings for up until the day that you leave have been paid for at the Six Candles, so you're welcome to return there. If you want to purchase anything else in the city, you probably have to wait till tomorrow because most shops are closed right now.
Figured.
Yeah. Okay. So I need a volunteer.
Not it.
Do it.
You're gonna do it?
Yeah, sure. Fuck it.
Okay. So since you're keeping a journal for your character, in the first page, wherever you're keeping your first page of notes, in the top of it, you're going to be my chronicler. So put days since
Oh, I have
contract.
horrible reading. Do you want some of you writing?
You're keeping a numerical value.
Okay.
So put days since contract, and then have like a large blank space left over, and then now just put 1. So this is the following day. 1. Excellent. Thank you.
It's not a pen, it's a pencil.
No, that's fine. You're not keeping the sole record. You're keeping a record, and I'm keeping a record. In this case, if there are any discrepancies,
So they
we can
match.
compare. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Gotcha. All right. So, does anybody else do anything that evening? I believe you're still at the inn resting. Your wolf is with you. Are you staying there at the inn?
I will be, but I'm probably not coming back until a few hours. Gotta go out. 1 dosage is not going to cover me for long travel. And
Okay.
I gotta prepare for that.
Gotcha. And then the rest of you, after you complete your transactions, where do you go?
I'm still a member of the guard until I
So you go out on patrol?
gone from the city, so I have to continue patrol.
Okay. How about you?
I'll proceed back to the inn.
Okay. So inn,
In.
inn,
In.
inn.
In. Darn it, I was gonna say it.
Nice little game of in and out, evidently.
Yeah. All right. So you're out on patrol. Everybody then is back at the inn except for you two. Go ahead and make a. Do you have knowledge local?
I have knowledge of
Go ahead and make a knowledge local roll.
I do, weirdly enough, because dwarf and cleric somehow stacked to that.
Being another 5.
No.
Got knowledge nature.
So 23.
In geography.
Okay.
Nice.
So
You can get us around.
17 plus 5 is 22.
22.
22. Excuse me.
So you're still in the tavern. You're at Six Candles. After probably about an hour after your request, you're approached by a barmaid who requests your privacy.
Right, yeah. I give her the privacy she requires.
Okay. So yeah, you know how much your individual doses cost, right?
Yes, I do.
How much are they?
20 gold pieces each.
How much did you request when you put in the order?
I didn't request a particular number.
Okay, so
I
you
just like any drug dealer, I didn't ask for an amount just yet.
all right. She produces 4 doses for you.
I give her 80 gold pieces.
Okay. She looks them over for a second and then goes, "You're a few coins short." She had to buy them for 20, so she's asking for like 20 plus 2. You would also know a gold coin would probably be more tip than needed, because that would be like
Good
$100.
information to have right
Yeah.
there. It's like being extorted for money is not exactly one of my strong suits.
So there she'd be like,
I very charismatically flip her 1 gold coin and say, here's the tip. Give that information before you make the deal.
No.
Dum.
So, mark 81 gold, and you got 4 extra doses. All right. So over the course of the following days, we're going to do kind of like an open exploration of the city. Your time frame of exploration is going to be 5 days, because that's basically, actually we'll make it 4 days, because on the 5th day you're due to leave. So we're going to go around the table and talk about what your character would do in the following days, and maybe summarize a few roles. So we'll start here with Izzy. Never mind, we're going to start here with Tom.
I am basically going to become well acquainted with the very stealthily if I can, not actually using stealth, but more using common charismatic ability, keep an eye on each individual person at different times, try to get an idea of what kind of people they're pushing me up against.
Okay. Yeah. What kind of
Yeah, it's
pain
like,
you've been thrown into?
what's this guy doing?
Yeah. Okay. So keep that in mind. We'll come back to that.
Yep.
Van.
I would proceed out of the inn, utilizing disguises, and then going around getting supplies,
Okay.
and then pretty much spend my time sort of crafting up some equipment for the trip.
Okay. Yeah. So Bard's Gate's a large enough city. Anything you would want to buy that's standard or even masterwork, you'd be able to find
Yeah.
here.
I just run my shifts.
Okay.
That's all I can really do.
You get paid an additional 12 gold for your shifts. That's a lot more than you would make normally, so you probably lifted that from a couple of thieves you caught.
How much are health potions? Like basic, run-of-the-mill health potions. Probably
Excellent
go
question.
around, look for that, get some of
I
those.
believe they're 50 gold.
Yeah, I'd probably buy like 2 of them.
Armors, weapons, weapon enchantments, potions. There we go. So if you have access to the core rulebook, potions are going to start on page 478. You're probably looking at a minor, maybe a medium. Yeah, so if you want a first level cure light, it's going to be 50 gold.
And what is it? What's that, like 2d4?
That's going to be a D8 plus 1.
D8 plus 1? Cool. Yeah, 2 of those is fine.
Okay.
And then,
You would also just keep in mind that drawing an item from anywhere on your body is usually a move equivalent, unless it's coming out of a bag of holding. If it's coming from a bag of holding, it's a standard action. Consuming a potion is a standard action. So
Okay.
basically, a full round would be produce the potion and drink it.
good to go.
Gotcha.
You
You can 5-foot step with that.
Awesome. Heard. I'm going to also spend a lot of time researching all the areas that he talked about. Basically, like gearing up, getting ready, learning about where we're going to be going into.
Excellent. That's a very wise idea.
Also, yeah, pretty much keep to myself. Trying not to. I mean, if anybody comes and approaches me, I'll talk to them. But other than that, just
You're not
keep
going
myself.
out of your way to socialize.
Exactly.
Okay. And what about Gauss?
Gauss is going to require a couple items. I'm
Okay.
going to go see if I can have a special item and clothing created, cobalt size. I need a flute that's not actually a flute, unless it can be, that can house a wand inside of it as like a disguise. I'm going to go find some entertainer's clothes. And then grab, basic potions and equipment.
Okay. Yeah, so you would easily be able to find that because effectively wands are of nondescript size and thickness. So it's basically a twig, in my opinion. So in this case, a standard flute that you maybe bore out a little extra would be perfect. You can just buy a standard flute. And then entertainer's clothes would be profession's clothing. I believe that's also in the core rulebook under equipment.
Is.
Yeah, so as long as you have the money for it, you'd be able to find them here. And then whatever else you would need to get.
Yeah, it's like 5 gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's going to include healing potions and rope, caltrops,
Yeah.
chalk, all
Yeah,
the basic
anything,
starting equipment.
anything that you've got the money for, feel welcome to buy.
Gotcha.
Grendier. What are you getting?
All right. Well, first, I would like to go to the stables.
Okay.
I would like to see if they have 2 mules.
You would be able to find mules for sale in the city, yeah.
All right, I'd like to purchase 2 mules.
Okay.
And then I would like to go find a carriage for sale, if I could find one.
Like a rickshaw or like a full carriage? What are you putting in it?
Like us.
Okay, like a full carriage.
Full carriage, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you can afford it, you can find them here, but
Yeah.
having them being pulled by asses is going to make you a laughing stock of the city.
You gotta start somewhere.
You should try
Finding a mule.
Hey, but
Sounds
they're
like
not
something
donkeys or
Coltrane would
mules.
do.
Okay.
Slightly better. Not much,
Can
but
you
just
not afford a
54
horse?
minutes and 50.
No, because horses are way more expensive for some reason.
Because they're nicer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you want them pulled by a, if you want them pulled, my recommendation instead would be to purchase like 2 wagons and not a carriage, because a carriage would be equivalent to like, you know, a Lincoln Navigator, and a wagon would be like just a regular 4-door sedan. So you would have a luxury
Alright.
carriage being pulled by non-luxury beasts of burden. You're going to be a laughing stock.
Yeah, you should get one of those forged power wagons.
How much is a horse and how much is like a
I think a standard horse is 100 gold.
Here, I got it right here.
I'm gonna go buy
A light
Haramaki.
horse. No,
It's
wait,
5
that's
gold.
not right.
A what?
A Haramaki.
Sure. Is that a weapon?
Plus 1 AC.
What is it?
It's a plus 1 AC, no arcane spell failure, and it's at 5 gold.
Okay, but like, is it a shield or?
It's an outfit.
It's an outfit, I think.
Okay.
Clothing. Got it.
Yeah, that's
And
fine.
what is it now?
Haramaki.
Yeah.
Haramaki?
Haramaki.
Does it give a source book? Like
no.
ultimate equipment or anything like that?
No, it just says
You
plus
send me the
1.
link.
Yeah.
If it's a homebrew item, you can't have it.
Yeah, it's not a homebrew item.
If it doesn't
I'll get it
cite,
for you.
And it
doesn't
adds to
cite the book.
AC. Hold on now.
I got you.
Yeah, it doesn't arcane spell. Doesn't have arcane spell features. So.
I'd also like to, if I have enough time during the week, to research comprehend languages, since we might be looking for a book with a dead language, essentially.
I mean, I could afford one horse.
It's gonna be the Pathfinder actual core book.
Yeah, but he's right. Carts would be
Do
better.
you have the ability to add spells to your repertoire?
It's gonna be under items,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Or
Yeah.
somewhere.
if it's
What's the mechanic? You have to purchase it?
It's equivalent to a 140.
Okay, yeah. First level, you would effectively need to buy a scroll. of comprehend
PRGUE.
PRG.
Pathfinder role playing game, whatever UE is.
Ultimate equipment.
Yeah, it's an ultimate equipment.
Hmm.
By the Howler Monkey.
I'm pretty sure I'm not even.
And for the kobold, then I know the next question he's gonna ask.
So it's good, right?
Yeah, it's in the ultimate equipment. You can add.
Doesn't
I hadn't recognized
It's not
the
in here.
name.
It's 150 gold pieces, Lou.
I honestly don't think I'm proficient in any kind of armor whatsoever.
It's not armor, it's clothing.
No, yours is not 5.
Oh.
Yours is whatever it says in the
Thank
book. If it's 150 gold, it's 150 gold.
You said one
Pretty good, actually.
It's 150 gold pieces.
Okay, I'll still pay that. That's fine.
Wait, what? No, hold on. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. It is 3 gold pieces. The dancing scarves are 150 gold pieces.
Very different. First level scroll,
3
wizard
gold
scroll,
pieces.
25 gold.
25 gold?
Easy. So,
Some
but for some reason, it is
Uh,
listed as armor, light armor,
I will actually.
not clothing.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but it also does. It gives no
Well,
spell shit.
me and him
Well,
don't have to
that's,
worry about that.
that's
if we wear
different
light armor,
though,
we don't
because
have
as
to
a
worry about
wizard, you're not proficient with armor.
Right,
Can't
because
wear
we
it?
can't wear it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you would have to feed into being able to wear light armor.
it. Yeah. Meanwhile, I can wear light armor and never have to worry about the spell resistance anyway. So,
Is it like my wolf?
Yeah.
but because I'm already wearing armor, I don't want to add more.
Let me confirm that, because that's usually that's the way it works in other editions. This is kind of a unique situation. I've never had a wizard trying to wear armor, so I'm not sure. But let me just confirm.
I thought it was just like a
Wizards- alright,
shirt,
so this is a
like
sort-
mithril or something.
Well, yes, but and so like under sorcerers, they are not proficient with any type of armor or shield.
Mm-hmm.
So in this case, even though it doesn't offer an arcane spell failure chance, you still don't have the prerequisite ability to
Okay.
wear it as an armor.
Well, then I will not put it on.
See, thankfully, the summoners can wear light.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you guys, since you're a restricted caster,
Yeah.
that's one of the trade-offs.
No
But you also
worries,
don't have
but
access
that's
to like
fine.
ninth level spells. That's the trade. Wizards are proficient with the club, dagger, heavy crossbow, light crossbow, and quarterstaff, but not with any type of armor or shield. If you have an open feat, you could feat into light armor proficiency.
I
Well,
don't.
if that's something you want to take in for later, just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend it wasting a feat slot for just a +1 bonus. As a
Especially not
wizard,
when
my
you have
recommendation
mage
is to
armor.
accept the fact you're going to get hit.
Unfortunately,
Oh, I
I'm
believe it.
already wearing a high
Or
shirt.
learn dodge.
Well, and that's the other thing. Like, what
Tuppence.
with 150 gold, you could buy 6 new first level spells and add them to your repertoire. Because you basically just buy the scrolls, make the spellcraft check, add it to your spellbook. So in this case, if you don't have like mage armor or shield
Oh, no,
yet,
I do. I'm good.
okay, well then you could buy other spells and add them
Yeah,
to your
other
repertoire.
first level spells.
However, I don't. Only Blake's character is the only one that can do that.
Do what?
Purchase spells and add them to your repertoire without having to level up, with no level advancement requirement.
Oh.
Isn't there a mechanic somewhere to like scribe spells under your book?
If you're a wizard,
I thought he was.
he is. That's what I'm saying. He does have that. You do not.
I don't have to.
Exactly.
Right.
We're agreeing.
Why
the
would
same.
you? Yeah, we'll just
all the
use
power.
scrolls of them. We'll just use spell scrolls.
Yeah.
As,
Two things. I'm going to go for the 2 mules and a cart combo.
Would you like a set of fries with that?
Yes,
I was
please.
about to ask the same thing.
But yeah, I'll go for that.
Those are done.
Do I just have ownership and they'll keep them at the stables for me, or do I have to pay for them to be at the stables?
So, a wise dwarf would probably buy these either the morning of or day
Yeah.
before you're due to leave, so
point.
you're not paying a stable fee.
Right.
Also, you will have to pay to have them housed because you can't keep a mule in the tavern, so you have to put them somewhere.
Just tie 'em up around back.
What are you talking about? We did that back at home.
What? Well,
Well,
different.
remember, you said a wise dwarf, and he wants to throw anything.
Good point.
All right.
So 5 days
So-
before our trip, he buys 2 donkeys and a cart.
you
No.
also
wait.
need to make sure that you have
So you can
feed
throw
and water for
So
them
we can
as well,
throw them.
because everybody needs to be keeping track of their rations.
That was actually going to come into the other one. Healer's kit, is that what I think it is, like bandages and stuff like that? Or is it
Yeah,
like...
that allows you to make the heal check to stabilize an individual. If you have a standard heals kit, you get a +2 bonus to the heal check. If you have a masterwork healer's kit, you have a +1.
Portable or the whole.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the feed right now, actually.
Yeah,
Do I need-
it's like a copper piece for a day.
Do you know...
You can also, as long as they're herbivores, you could let them free range for a little bit, but their diet needs to be supplemented.
What about water, though? Do I have to... Can I get... Oh, I need barrels anyway.
Well, so
Granted.
you should have some, but keep in mind that you'll need to be able to refill them. And I believe create water is a cantrip for you.
Yeah, I have it.
So you would be able to get them water and be able to store it
feed.
in the barrel, but you should have 2 barrels, one for each of them to drink out of.
Alright, so... Oh, it's in my nose.
You'd be right in the car a lot.
Question?
On the 3rd day, young Nakamura takes time to
We're going to have to do
buy
some math.
components to
Best part
make
about D&D.
hammer,
hard part
All
is
the
finding
math you have
games
to
that
do.
let
It's
help.
education.
Okay.
Of course.
but he does it separately.
What-
from
see,
the
you don't have this
Yeah.
whole thing where-
So you have those components written down and the costs written down for your class, right? I believe it's 1 gold piece gets you 10 shots or something like that.
One gold piece gets me 10 shots, but we never discussed the cost of black powder. Or
That's included.
It's included.
Yeah, you have for 1 gold piece, you have ball and powder for 10 shots. I don't know if that's the exact conversion, but it should be in your class printout that I got for you.
Okay.
Under either the gunsmithing bonus feat or somewhere in the skill description that says you're allowed to work on your own weapons.
So I can't find it here, so just 1 copper for a day?
Yeah,
Okay, so it is 10 copper, silver, 10 silver to gold.
yeah. So with 1 gold piece, you could buy 100 days worth of feed for 1 animal. So for 1 gold piece, you could have 50 days worth of feed for 2 mules. And we'll consider that the fact that since you can create the water at will, and I do the unlimited cantrips because cantrips are stupid, then you can just create the water you need to the bucket when it's due to be filled.
Okay.
Or like if you find a supply of water, like a river or whatever, a brook, that you can get water. You can let them graze too, yeah.
Okay.
They can graze for some part of the day, but their diet does need to be supplemented with the actual food. Yeah.
Alright, so I'll write down 100 days worth of food from you.
Right. Make sure you guys also buy rations for yourself because he hasn't given you any food. He's expecting you to be intelligent enough to know that with the 150 gold he gave you, you need to buy your own food.
I have pre-rations
exact amount
ready.
after A generous amount of time is going to take us to
I got rations before.
destination.
That is an excellent question. So far, you're the only person to ask it.
Are they
I thought you
spoiled?
stated
So-
I just missed
hope
it.
so.
Look over it. I was literally just about to ask that exact same fucking question.
Each one of them.
Man, you really
Because I'm under the impression that.
Yes,
the only
I need
person
to
that
know
is
how many days we will be on the
capable of
road, so I
hunting
know
is
which cities we can stop in on the
And
way
that's
to pick
still
up certain
kind of
Do you
a
even
items.
know I'm
nasty
into it?
question.
Just the
Well, actually,
real
no.
question.
It's not so much a hardcore addiction
So-
as much as I need it to.
How many miles a day do you think you guys are going to be traveling?
At a fast pace or at a medium pace?
Well, we have
You have to set the pace and then tell me, because that's going to dictate how long it's
we
gonna
do
take to get
have
there.
carts and mules now, so we can ride on the mules to get
We
places.
will.
I would be under the impression that we would be at a walking pace at roughly around 2 miles per hour. So
In an 8-hour day, 16.
an 8-hour day.
And then since you guys have the beasts of burden, so they can carry some of your more heavy equipment or stuff, we're going to call that 20 miles a day.
20 miles a
Because
day, that's
you'll be
actually
getting up
pretty
at
good.
sunrise, going to bed at sunset, and we'll say that.
Stopping for breaks and such.
Traveling montage.
Yeah.
So I would assume a ration could satiate us for a day.
Yeah, one
Might get
allotment
shot
of
in New
rations
Zealand.
is a day's worth of rations. It includes
Oh,
enough
shit.
for breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I didn't hear
What
you
about third
give us
breakfast?
an exact measurement of mileage.
It's 1,100 miles away.
1,100 miles.
Traveling at 20 miles a day will take you 55 days to get there.
55 days to get there.
There are.
We need to get on a boat and just boat up.
You could go to Freegate, which is out here, to the east of your location. There are several cities along the way, as well as 2 prominent elven cities here in the Forest Kingdoms. You would be able to get on a boat at Freegate and then sail up here to Canton Light, which is actually not a city, but you would be able to make shore
Well, that's
there
just
next to the
fine.
river.
So we're not going to be able to
Um,
go to that G.
Traveling with if you go bougie and you rent a magic ship, you could probably cover 100 miles a day, so 11 days as opposed to the 55.
So
Yeah, that's probably what we're
Well,
going to do.
how long will it take to get to the coast?
the main concern with that one for me is
Probably
cost.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah,
6,
well, we're about to
7,
find
8,
out.
12. Actually,
5
since
days.
each one's roughly 55, we'll just call it 2 days. So it'll probably take you about 24 days to get to the coast.
24 days, and what would be the cost to cover a
So 1
not
month instead of 2.
extravagant ship?
It's a lot better.
I'm talking
Ye
no
old
offense to
Tusco.
Spirit Airlines, but Spirit Airlines.
Well,
Ye
I mean,
old
you
tugboat.
guys.
Let's not talk about
Before
Grabmere.
before I start to answer these questions, I want you guys to take a moment and uniformly come up with a plan as a group, because I'm not looking up 20 different ways to get there.
I'm not traveling 55 days with my current allotment of
we all
stuff.
have the assumption that 55 days is just way too long. That's more money to spend on rations than we would have gold.
Take it, we're sitting down at dinner tonight. and Let's talk about this.
I think the only person
Yeah.
that
Well,
would
of
be
course, I gotta
is-
bump into you to give each of you an unseen and
Does
unnoticed arcane
Caden
mark.
have a plan?
I believe you can only have one arcane mark active at a time.
It does not state that in spell.
We,
Whatever you want to
Didn't
take that as a
Caden
plan.
have a plan?
the question.
Yeah,
also-
Caden's plan was to hire you guys and tell you what to do. And as far as he's concerned, he's fulfilled that. However, you would know that as a learned man who's conducted several expeditions in the past, he would have a wealth of knowledge as to not only the most expeditious ways, but the safest ways to travel in the region.
Alright.
I'd say we just head north till we hit whatever we're going to.
Should we ask him?
Do I have enough on it?
It didn't
At some point
state
we'll hit it.
in
I got on my phone.
the
Yeah, you can
SRD
mention that,
which
which
they
they-
would
You know what we need?
the
10-foot
cost
ladder.
for
That's
black
expensive.
powder and ball. So
It's only
can
2
we
silver.
just right now have it on record 1 gold
That's
equals
heavy.
10 shots
Look at the
with
weight.
black powder, or
Hey,
would
get
you
5
like to actually
ladders.
research
Look
that
at the
at a
weight.
different time?
Oh, it's 20
and
pounds.
Figure out the cost.
Do you have
It
the
does
printout
say
for your
one
plan?
personal
I
rune
do.
or mark, but
Alright, let me look into
Get
this
the
arcane
power
mark
creep
real
fire.
quick, and then I will.
I don't think so.
PFSRD.
Alright, one,
Yeah.
looking at
Maybe
that.
I should buy flint.
Nowhere does it
Isn't our
state
journey
that
supposed to
I'm
be
not active at the time, as far
destination
as I can tell.
clues? Open seas would be faster, but we might find information on the way on the land route.
Back to my
Because
economics.
while the destination is important, it's not so much getting there, it's
Finding out what we need to find
finding this book potentially, or finding any clue
Yeah,
to
it
this
just
sort of
if it's
area.
cast on if
A
marks based
person,
on a
it goes
living
away
man,
in a
goes
month.
after a month, yeah.
But I don't need that to follow
I could
people around.
I could be
for 5
thinking
days.
of a different edition.
Yeah, but basically, I'm going to be using that as my ability to follow people. Just
Do you have a mode to scry on them yet?
no, but I can see my arcane mark.
So in case they're disguised.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or in case I lose track of them in a crowd, it's mine.
So
It kind of glows.
Yeah, put an asterisk by the 1 gold equals 10, because I'm fairly certain I remember reading somewhere that the actual cost to produce was described in your class. I don't remember where it is.
Because if it's only 1 gold to equal all of that, I would only spend 4 gold to get 40 shots.
That's totally fine.
And then the rest I would use on the party for whatever.
Okay.
Wow.
Do you have a bedroll?
I do have a bedroll and a backpack as well.
Okay. So some things that you guys would be aware of. Everyone should be keeping track of their weight and their encumbrance and all that. So since nobody, I don't think, is, the party mule, for lack of a better term, I don't think anybody's actively trying to carry an extra load, so nobody should be encumbered right now. But if you haven't done so sometime this week, please look up your max carrying allowance and keep track of your weight allowance. If you have a Masterwork backpack, the Masterwork backpack also increases your carrying allowance. There are other spells like Ant Haul and things like that will temporarily increase your carrying allowance. There are several calculators for it. Pathfinder 1st Edition online. Feel free to use them. I've checked a few. Most of them are always accurate. With that in mind, Jamie, your ball and shot effectively weightless. So just keep that in mind. Same thing with arrows. Arrows effectively weightless. You are required to keep track of mundane ammunition. So everybody who's using a ranged weapon, if you run out of arrows or bolts in an actual fight, you're out of ammunition. So please keep track of mundane. Also make sure to keep track of magic, because there is a chance to recover ammunition after a fight. And I believe a Masterwork bedroll is 50 gold. I might have to price check that. But when you use a Masterwork bedroll to rest, you gain 2 hit points back instead of 1 in a full night's rest. And since the party is per level, since a party has several casters in it who are squishy, you might look into that as an investment to expedite healing.
Yeah, doing that right now.
Just as a little.
Just bought one of those, so I deducted the money from my. I assume this is just mundane shopping.
Yeah.
You want to
mundane
add it, and then deduct. We're not going to go through the whole spiel.
Yeah, I trust everybody to keep track of their own shopping list and your inventory as far as money goes and your carrying capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
I have to look up encumbrance.
I assume we're congregating tonight to discuss our plans for travel.
Yeah.
Sounds like a
Yes.
good idea.
Alright.
I say we teleport.
I will
I don't know if you have enough money for that.
If we pull it together, we could.
No.
I would
Yeah.
like to take a shift
don't think so.
off then.
No, but I could meet you guys.
I would like to take a shift off then.
How much is the teleport?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have about almost.
Expensive
I have
It's very
almost
expensive.
250 gold.
Spellcasting services, teleport with
Right.
the chance of failure is a 5th level spell. So that would be minimum caster level 9. So that'd be 4,500 gold.
A little bit of our price
And
range.
now, and how much would 6 slaves cost me? Like if I sold 6 slaves. Just
slavery
as an educational thing.
That would cost you a life sentence in prison, because actively taking slaves in the city is illegal. Though if you bring slaves from the outside, it is frowned upon.
But aren't
but
we
with
leaving the
document-
city in 5 days?
Are you trying to get drug mules?
No. I'm trying to get enough money to teleport to finish the
Trying
job.
to sell Alex.
He's trying to get-
I know, but that made a lot of sense.
It's like we leave town. Okay, here we go back into town.
When he was away for those 5 days, he was setting up connections. All right, we're gonna set up a connection from this city to that one up there. I got
I'm
7
sorry.
people. We're good to go.
It's
Starting
times
a
100,
drug
not
empire.
time. It's times 10. It's not times 100. So it'd be 450 gold for a teleport with chance of failure.
Per person or for a group? Because it's a group. That's a group thing.
No, then
is-
we'd be
they-
talking about gate.
No, you can bring willing subjects with a teleport, and you can send unwilling people, but they get a will save. So in this case, they would need to be, there's 7 of you, so they would need to be caster level 12. So it'd be 12 times the spell level, which is 5th level spell. So 60 times 600 gold for each of you.
Yeah.
600 gold for each.
Actually, no, 600 gold in total.
So that would be roughly 50 gold a person.
I think it's closer to like 80. But yeah,
There's
That's
7 of
actually
us.
doable.
Is that a discount rate?
it's not at a discount.
Yeah, you're right. So it'd be about 100 gold per person, from what I remember.
And you guys have a very powerful wizard who might be able to cast it for you if you do something for him.
Oh yeah, let's talk to the guy who's sending us.
So
All right,
ship's passage is one silver piece per mile.
We haven't done it yet.
1 silver piece
Bring
per
me in.
mile, and
Oh, we could?
Going from the coast, it would be about the same. So instead of
1,000 miles.
we'll call it 1,000 miles. Remember, this
Okay.
planet is absolutely massive. This is all in a fragment of the northern hemisphere,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So little to nothing is known in the like past the equator, south. I'm not.
We're basically the Mediterranean Sea, an equivalent to our world. Kind
so it would take
In a way.
1,000 silver, so 100 gold. If that's the conversion rate 10 to 1.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, so 100 gold per person.
If we want to charter a ship.
Yeah, if we're not buying
But if we want to get there, like, boom.
that's
Boom,
not a
check.
bad choice.
So yeah, no downtime, just travel.
Well, yeah, but
It's more about the information lost.
there's things
that
we could find
That's
along
my
the way.
concern too.
Yeah,
If
we might
we
find
instantaneous-
information along the way. Even by ship, we could stop in a port, and then some schmo, all-seeing schmo.
There's only
would
one
know.
other port city between Freegate here and your destination, and that's Darnagal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say we walk.
So 55-day travel. I mean, I'm not saying no. It just seems like this guy's
It
wife's
feels
not doing too
pretty-
hot.
it feels
Maybe we
unlikely.
should.
You could ask him. I think
Gag
there's a
of
time
the
frame.
lolly.
I think
You
he
guys
did
didn't
one.
ask him what the time frame was.
That is a good one.
If he didn't give one, I don't
And
think
he didn't
he's-
give the information either, so I'm assuming there's not one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
If time was
He
of
did say it
if
was a
time
little
was of
rude to
any
ask
importance,
about his
it would have been
wife,
stated.
He did state his wife was dying, though.
well,
Yeah, but I mean, technically, the second you're born, you're dying.
If
please
he
recall
does. No.
that the wife is ill and he needs the sword to cure her, but he's been searching for the sword his whole life. So it doesn't necessarily mean she's been ill for,
Yeah, she could have been born
years.
with a sickness. And
Oh, okay.
It's just that he's spent his life searching for the sword already, and now that some circumstance has
Now there's a real need
now
in
there's
his
a real
eyes.
need for it. Now he's changing the game plan so he doesn't have an eighth failure. So if you want to talk to Caden, I totally encourage it.
I would like to go talk to Kate.
I would like to talk to Kane as well.
In fact, you guys could do this in his room and have the meeting in front of him.
Deliberation is
Is that a
key.
better option?
Okay.
Yeah, let's port that there.
Okay, so is this on the fourth night? So the morning before you leave?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just in case he says, no, I ain't teleport. You guys
We're
can
those
work
people that pack it the day before we have a flight.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you
everywhere.
guys
early
do it,
on.
like,
You pack the
last
morning
night,
up.
night, maybe,
Yeah,
so
I mean, we
have
spent
a
3
day
days
to,
buying
like,
3
supplies,
days
and I've been
before, man.
shadowing all of you.
That's what I mean. Well, I mean, if we're to buy rations or not, we should talk to him ahead of time.
Oh god, the mask again.
Okay.
No,
So-
Intimate
I
camera.
know.
it keeps falling down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the day
so-
before. That way we can get a clear.
She's requesting 2 days before.
2 days before.
Because
That's
that gives you a full business day to put arrangements in if needed, so you're not
Yeah,
bustling and
we still have to
hustling
buy
beforehand.
everything.
How much is a day's rations? 5 silver.
It depends on the quality of rations.
Oh, I have it right here.
The high quality stuff costs a lot of money.
I was about to say I'm used to eating.
4 quality
raw.
meal per day is 1 silver piece. About $10, and that covers breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Yeah,
You
I got 40
4.
of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
I
silver
decided to
a
go
day.
medium because poor actually
yeah,
does take an
but that's
effect on
like
you.
hardtack. That's just the hardtack. That's not even the fat to put on it.
Yeah.
That's like the cracker in the MRE. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, just the cracker,
Just
not
the
even the
cracker.
Tabasco.
You're not even getting the stick with the cheese paste, bro.
Yeah,
That's totally
The cheese was actually really good.
The cheese is
Yeah,
actually.
that's why I went with the medium. It comes with the cheese and the little Tabasco.
I've always heard.
I like.
But there's actually, from what I've read, there's actually, I think, a
Good,
fatigued
good.
effect on the poor rations. Like,
So-
the quality of your rations also has an effect on your ability to travel and maintain good health.
Like
so
morale?
five silver for.
through the day. Like if you're on poor
Yeah.
quality of rations for the day, you're effectively on half rations.
Oh, I see.
You'll-
So
you'll-
yeah.
You'll start to take checks to not become fatigued.
So
Okay.
5 silver for meh.
5 silver's good.
1
3
gold
silver's
for-
meh.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
5
good.
silver is
Trail
good.
rations
3
does
silver
it.
is meh.
5.
Yeah, I went with
Like,
5
for trail
silver.
rations is 5 silver.
Because
would-
then you're on regular rations and you're not gonna fatigue too hard. Except you should be eating normal meals when you reach each town. Because even I think mid rations have an effect after a certain amount of time without a full meal.
Yeah, we should figure out how many rations we need after the
Read
meeting.
this stuff.
That's 11 gold.
You can have 10 if you take it.
Nah, I don't need it.
Take it. Thank you for actually reading into the logistics.
I mean,
Kinda
I brought chunks of
No, you
meat.
told me.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was like he was bringing up the repercussions. I wasn't going to tell you guys the repercussions, but he's actually bringing them up.
So the rations.
Well, as somebody, and
days
here's
per
my
bowl.
argument for it in character.
Does the
As
ration
somebody
cover
who's
you
traveled
for
from
one day,
Thane
or is it
all the way to Bard's
per day?
Gate,
Okay, so
I
I
learned
need
this
way
the hard
more.
way.
I only bought
Yeah.
4.
it's like being on a ship and realizing I forgot an orange.
4.
So it's gonna be what, 30 days until we get to the next city?
55 days.
55
It's
days
50
total travel.
It's
up 30
55
days.
days
To the
if
next
you
Then you
go
didn't think you
due
have to
north,
travel that far.
basically following the old road up and then cutting over here, going through Elise, and then arriving in Gulvir. So that'd be going through this path.
Is there a
Alright,
city or
so-
anything in between, or a town or anything in
There's a
between?
town here called the Camp.
Well, actually,
That's probably the only city.
actually
Well, that's
need
one of 2 cities you'll encounter.
up that,
And actually, that's a lie. Also down here is Glendale Close.
I say we walk.
There's 1,
We have more chance
2.
to gather information.
There's 3 cities along the way. The 4th city being your destination.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we should buy, like, we have to buy our rations. Each one is £1 per day. So if we, at the beginning of our journey, we're going to be carrying 55 pounds, we buy all of our rations first. That's why I'm
But
asking.
I
that's
bought
why
a
he-
cart.
But
That's why he bought a cart.
And
Now
mules.
this is the downside though, is if somehow during an encounter that cart gets destroyed, what are you guys gonna do?
During the night, it
Let's
gets
start
stolen.
hunting. That's why we have to keep a lookout and keep watch.
Yeah, there's gonna have to be a watch. every
Just
single
keep
night.
that stuff in mind. Like logistically, he's purchased a way to make this happen.
Mhm.
And if you guys decide to take the ship, I'll allow you to refund the cart because you wouldn't have bought that stuff until after the logistical plans have been made.
Okay.
I'll
I'll keep that in mind. I'll keep it on the list.
I'm 100% for just walking. We have 3 chances to gather information. We have 3 chances to resupply. It makes the most sense.
You know, if we have 3 locations in between, getting rations wouldn't be as bad.
But will we have the money to make it there?
55. So if we got good rations,
I bought good rations.
we have 11. That's 11 gold to get good rations. That's pretty infantile compared to the amount of gold we just received.
I just spent 15 gold on 30 days of good rations.
Yeah, but I did just buy cart, mules. Actually, yeah, I'm
I
pretty good.
intend on buying in mid rations and then every time we actually stop in a town, getting a full good meal to supplement.
Yeah, I was doing
So,
the 5 gold
Hayden
pieces.
chimes in at this point.
Yeah.
Because we've allowed you all to
Talk.
retcon a lot of your talking to, hey, let's include the wizard. If money's the problem, you all have means of aiding the countryside wherever you go. You may find people who need monster slayers or druids or healers or, individuals with
Druid
arcane
slayers,
prowess.
monster
And
healers.
you may be able to work for your money.
I'll
Unfortunately, the money that I had given to the Church of Mithras is all of the actual liquidatable coin that I have here in the city. I wouldn't be able to bring you more unless at least a few weeks went by.
I think that settles it.
The 3 cities on the way are well populated, though, right?
They're not major cities. They're at most a large town.
Still not
Except for
surprised.
Glavir itself, which would be a decent sized city.
Yeah, no, I think traveling, we have 3 stopping points. We ration up a little extra and then resupply each time.
And you're not you wouldn't be moving cross country, so the chances of getting lost are very slim. You'd be sticking to the main road.
Mhm.
So you wouldn't have to budget for extra rations out in the field.
So
And
how
hunting
long
is
would it take
completely
to get to the
acceptable.
first city?
Mhm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times
gonna be
55
loud when you do
miles, 330.
You got crossbow.
330 divided by 20
I have no
is going to
proficiency
be
16.
16 days.
Okay, that's
I have
doable.
bow.
So I need
Man.
16 days worth of rations.
I have a light crossbow.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys remember in the Discord server, we were initially talking about the scale for these hexes on the map.
16.
You're doing 50 miles.
Yeah, it's about 50 to 55
Wait,
miles,
how did that
depending on your
actually work?
depending on your proximity to the equator. They do get smaller the farther north you go, due to spherical reasons. But
So
for
is it
purposes of
16
travel, I'm just going to
pounds?
always have them equal to 50.
So
Yeah.
2 silver per ration.
It's this portion of the
silver per
world
ration,
is large
10
enough to be
silvers,
like
1
negligible curve,
Okay.
especially since you're only traveling like.
Oh, I
Probably
was
just where
doing
you're
it
looking, most likely for.
Yeah. Hashtag where's the curve?
Mm-hmm. Especially the plant this big, you can't tell. Oh my
That
God.
is a joke.
So we walk.
Okay. Sounds like everybody's in an accord that you walk.
So I guess I would stock up for the, 55 days worth and 5 gold, you said?
I'm doing 30.
So it's
30.
for good quality rations, it's 5 silver pieces.
5 silver pieces.
So effectively 1 gold gets you 2 days. Round it up
I
to
did
60
15.
days to be safe. That's 30 gold worth of food.
I would do that for the party.
That's also 30 pounds.
We have a cart.
Okay, so just keep in mind that each person's carrying about 30 pounds. It has allotted 30 pounds worth of food to them for the journey.
Is it 30 gold?
30 gold
Yeah.
per person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 7 of you, so that's
We're doing
210
60
gold.
days.
Yeah, I'll do that. So how many rations do we get for 30 gold?
60.
60 days.
Okay. Cool.
And that's at the good quality. Because a good 1 ration of good quality is 5 silver.
Find out how long this lasts.
And they normally, like, in the book, they allot that per meal, but I'm not going to go the extra step of saying, like, oh, there's 3 or 4 fucking meals a day. No, it's just, that's your day's worth of food.
You know,
That's what you
That's
get.
the next
sounds
thing you're gonna
great
work on.
to me.
Yeah.
Good for me, man.
I'll simplify it a little bit for you, but we're not counting rations.
Not.
Oh, no, that's a good amount of food.
I'll buy 60 gold worth of rations and just throw it on the cart. And I'll hunt for my food.
60 gold? That's a lot of rations.
That's enough for 2 people.
That's enough for 2 people.
I bought my own.
Isn't
There
that
you
like
Okay. So then, if that's the case,
180
who's
meals.
keeping track of the total party rations?
I'm not keeping track of everybody. I'm keeping track of my own.
I mean, I have the
I'll be
card, so
keeping
I
track
got
of my own
scared.
rations.
Okay. So in that case, we need to
You
decide
bought
now
my
if-
rations.
if we're having the attitude of just there is a set number of days worth of rations in the cart. We need to decide how many that is, and then start to deduct the rations accordingly, or everybody keeps track of their individual allotment.
Or both.
I mean, I'm fine with each person keeping track of their individual.
Yeah.
And he'll
Some
keep
people
track
might
of
have
the cart.
bought,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I got
that kind of
table
food,
for the
some people
cart,
bought
so
that
just tell me
kind
what
of
you're
food,
putting
some
on the
people
cart
bought that
itself.
kind of food.
But that also
That's
doesn't
the
include
taste.
anything luxurious like beer or wine. It's literally
Oh,
just
Just
the food.
make
I
sure
don't
you tell
have
me how
any
much
of
it
that.
weighs, though, so I can put that down.
Like cocoa powder.
Yeah, of course.
60
I
gold
am-
worth of rations, which I believe is like 180 days for one person. Ooh,
That
that's to be a lot of food.
the
60 gold worth of rations would be.
The rations are a
120
pound each,
days.
so that'd be
that's
30
that's
pounds
two
a
people's
horse?
worth
I thought it was
Or no?
3 meals each day for one ration.
It is. We're effectively
Yeah.
saying 5 silver pieces covers you for the day.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
at
all
60
right.
gold.
So we're considering ration a day's ration, not a meal's ration. That's where I got my.
They don't
yeah.
rot, right?
Huh?
They don't rot.
Yes, they
right?
do go bad.
They are designed to be used on the trail, so they are preserved. Like this is dried meat and dried bread.
So it will last almost
Yeah.
infinitely.
Won't last
It's not
forever.
going to
but will
last
long
infinitely.
enough.
You have to keep it dry. You have to keep it sealed.
Yeah, so no.
Like you
60
got to make
days.
sure that it's actually being taken care of, otherwise it will go bad. So like if the cart somehow manages to fall into a river, I'll be like, if it's in there for more than a few rounds, the rations are effectively destroyed because now they're no longer in a state where they are dry.
Dried.
They will begin to rot.
And how many days worth to get to the first city?
16.
16 days?
16 days. So in gold pieces, that'd be 8 gold per person.
This just covers if, bad things happen, we have
Yeah.
a fallback plan on it.
I'm going for 20.
Yeah, because I bought about 20 gold worth of rations
So-
myself.
Same.
From my understanding, you're saying those are in addition to what everybody else is buying.
Correct.
Okay.
I will hunt for my food.
You will hunt for your own food.
I have more than enough ammo to hunt for my own food. I have 120 rounds.
Okay.
You are so lucky it's weightless.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fucking heavy as hell.
Oh, yeah.
There's not going to be much gain left after you shoot it with a fucking 75 caliber ball.
Yeah. Welcome to Oregon Trail.
Yeah.
I'll help him out.
Well, with a fucking bomb? There's gonna be nothing left.
We'll
It's ash.
make it
Crossbow.
Believe, and we can achieve.
She'll call the animals over.
She will not.
It's like it just walks over.
Okay,
lays
as
down
the
in
lawful
giant
good
skillet.
cleric, I have to stop this where it's going.
I gotta say, I can see that happening. Just walks over, lays down in the giant skillet.
Or convince it, like,
I mean,
Cal from,
if we're talking about crafting a
Okay.
giant skillet, now the
Are you
dwarf
guys
is
looking
in.
to get fed all day or just fed for
I have
a
a
round per
wolf.
level?
What do you
Because
think
I
he
do have
is?
options. Chicken. Summon rats. Enjoy.
Oh,
Some of the
Lord.
creatures disappear when
I
they
know.
spawn.
That's the joke.
Okay, so we've covered rations.
That's a good way to make money.
We've covered plans. You inform Caden that you intend to leave due north on the old road, stopping at each of the 3 cities, and then moving to Clavier.
So what, you're telling us we're going to take our meals on the Old Town Road?
No. No copyright
No.
material, please. Don't start singing.
No. No.
Is he gonna add anything else to our itinerary?
He's giving you guys leeway to get on it.
No, that's our job.
Yeah,
The mission
he's
is to
not.
be a decoy and to
He is not a micromanaging kind of guy. He's
Oh,
giving
good.
you guys
He's a
reins.
macro.
He's a macro manager.
Yeah.
Helicopter manager.
Oh my god.
Alright.
You.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
He hands you a wand.
I
This has 10 charges on it. You can use it to get a hold of it.
All right. Stick it in my cloak.
Fair
It's a
enough.
wand of sending.
Well, all right. I'll ask this: does anybody have a higher than a 9 on a UMD? On UMD right now. Just meta game. Let's figure this out real quick. Anybody?
I trust you with that.
Then I'll hold on to the one.
Is sending not on your spell list?
Sending is not on my spell list.
Then he wouldn't have given it to you.
Oh, well then I hand it back and say, here, you might want to give this to somebody who has the ability to cast Send, because all I have is a 9 in UMD.
That's on the summoner list.
Doesn't mean I took it.
I know, but if it's on your list, you don't need to make the UMD check to activate it.
Ah, okay, you were asking me if it was on my total list, not my known spells.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Once
a fourth,
again,
it's
first
a fourth
time
level spell
playing
for you.
spellcaster.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good, buddy. Yeah, if it's the same thing for a scroll. Like, as long as the scroll is on your list of spells available to your class, you can cast it without having to make the UMD check.
Okay.
But,
so-
like, if you were to try to cast a divine scroll, you would need to use UMD.
All right, so we can contact you 10 times, is what you're saying.
Yes, and it will allow him a brief reply.
All right, is there a recharge on this?
No. Wands don't
Alright.
recharge in this edition. But you could
Alright.
buy a new one.
All right,
Or find a new one, or learn to cast it.
Liberate.
or just cast message.
Message doesn't offer a reply.
Yeah,
but yeah.
that's what I.
It
Basically,
does.
if
It
we're
does, but
just
it's only
sending
100
information
feet.
that requires no retort.
Also, I know sending is a lot more powerful, but I'm
Message
not sure.
gives you a reply, but it's only at 100 feet. Sending can cross planes.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah, but we're
And
not
it's
trying to
but
cross.
sending's, but sending's limited to 25 words. I'm pretty sure.
Got it.
Is there no reply?
No,
No,
sending,
there's a reply as well, but it's only 25 words.
but
as
it
well.
but it allows any physical distance to
Yeah.
be overcome.
Okay.
Whereas message would be more like you're trying to talk to the person at the end of the football field.
Or even somebody like right there without them knowing, without everybody else knowing, you could whisper it and they'd be able to hear you clear as day and they can whisper back to you.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, it's got 10 charges on it. You can use it to get in contact with him. Basically, he asks that if you find any significant information, use the wand, you know, summarize it to about 7, whatever could fit in within the message. I think it's about 25 words. Send, and then if you need direction, he'll give you instructions in the reply. But for the most part, he's hoping that you guys will be able to find your own leads and pursue them. Now, granted, your quest at this point is mostly just to gather information about the sword and about the city. So if you find something that leads you to the city, you're not obligated to go there, but that would be information you would want to share with him, because he may send like Mithras and Borg to go with you and to get to the city proper. Does that make sense?
Is there any
Yeah.
information you wish to share? That way we don't send you stuff you already know.
Roll a diplomacy. And because you've already signed the contract and you're agreeing to work with him and you haven't tried to haggle him for a shit ton of money, I'll give you a plus 15.
Oh, shit.
So he'll take the 10.
Because I got a 20, so that's 43 then. Could you give me plus 15?
Yeah, so 15 and 20 is 35, not 45.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was disabled device. Minus 2 on that.
Okay. So,
You said
So
143
33.
gold. That's
Okay.
pretty good.
so with that,
I feel pretty good.
yes, that would be wise. You have limited communication. I do know this. There was once a paladin or some type of holy warrior who I believe held the sword. He was a Northman who had come down from the moors, which you guys would all roughly know that the farther north you go, the colder it gets, and runoff from the mountains will usually collect in this area up here, the Sea of Grass, a little far north of that. This region here is very much like Norse, Northman, Viking-y kind of influence. So there was some type of holy warrior had come down from there to Sen, and he believes that they
What
had
was his
found
name?
him. He doesn't know.
We don't know the name of the holy warrior, but that was the last known wielder of the sword.
We believe.
River?
How
Either
long ago were
they.
the stories?
Can you say that again?
How long ago were the stories?
800 years.
That
So
far
pretty
north.
recent.
That far north, would it be wise perhaps to purchase some cold weather clothing?
Yes, anything north of Sen, so anything north of here, probably actually anything north of the Bentwood here, you would need winter clothing, even if you're in the desert. This would be more of a tundric desert than it is like a arid desert.
So it'd be
Siberia.
Yeah, so, yeah. So in this case, if anything up north of Sen, or if you were in the mountains here, in the Barrier Hills, you would definitely want cold weather gear. If you intend to go from Glavir and take a boat up here to maybe Goo Island or into the burning wastes here along the shore, you would also probably want cold weather gear for that sea voyage. Because as the winds come down this way, they bring a lot of the cold with them.
I see no reason not to invest in cold weather gear now.
I
well,
Well,
purchased
those
some
are
cold weather
that
gear.
weighs a lot.
We'll worry about that
When we get
the time
closer, it'd be
comes.
wiser to do
And
both.
it would probably be wiser for somebody to invest in an Endure Element spell, since you have so many casters among you.
That's fair.
And actually,
Actually, does he have that spell in his repertoire?
I could scribe one for you by tomorrow and hand it to you. But yes, there was some holy warrior. He was a Northman. We believe that that is somehow associated with the Temple of Frey that Sorton is currently looking for. We do not know his name, and he is rumored to have the sword, though I do not believe he actually obtained it. I believe he simply sought it. Through some type of divine calling or quest of some kind, I believe he was burdened with a similar burden that I have. He is destined to find the sword. If he found it, it is likely buried with him.
Do we happen to know who made the sword? Like what civilization it may have come from?
The sword predates most smithing technology.
Even
I
the
believe
was it Hyperion or the
Hyperborean. It predates the
Hyperborean.
Hyperborean Empire.
Really?
From what we can gather, we believe elven smiths crafted the blade millennia ago, thousands of years ago, and the craftsmanship is something that could even be rivaled to today. We believe that there were elves who also sought the sword, and we believe that that lead would be able to be investigated at the Wizard's Wall. I also know that none of you are prepared to survive the burning wastes, which would be the wastelands around the city itself. Should your quest pull you into that God's forsaken land, notify me, and I will send aid.
Sounds fair.
There's some rough. Come look. And he pulls you over to one of the tables that he has here in his study at the Six Candles, and it is full of scrying equipment. And most of you would recognize the tools themselves, but the actual individual spells and incantations you probably wouldn't recognize. But he casts some kind of magic. Huh?
Do I recognize it?
You can make a spellcraft. You're going to come up against a 23.
23.
You think he's casting legend lore, but it's happening much faster.
Okay.
'Cause normally it takes days. Or in this case, since he doesn't actually have any tangible evidence to go with it, this should be taking him weeks to kind of conjure these visions together. And you can see them forming in the scrying pool, where the silvered parts of the bowl to cause a reflection are kind of creating a 3D, what we would call a hologram within the water
Okay.
to be viewed by everybody who's been called around. So he casts the spell, and you would see that the individual carrying the sword is silhouetted in darkness. Like, you don't actually see their figure. They seem masculine and feminine, and then sometimes feminine. Like, and he explains that he believes that this means there have been multiple owners. Like, as the features shift from more masculine to androgynous, he believes that is maybe somebody who was very youthful, like a child who may have held the sword at one point. And then as the figure switch again to a more defined feminine figure, it is probably like a very powerful witch or like clericess, you know, some type of individual like that who took the sword. The sword itself looks like the hilt is made out of some type of like white ivory material with a golden handle guard that comes up, and from the guard there you see like several little pinholes, and there is like an air current coming out of the blade. And so the actual blade itself is made out of moving air.
Okay.
And these individuals, as they wield it, you get the sense from this magic spell that's being done that they are triumphing in battle. They move like wind through entire legions of soldiers and are unmatched, unrivaled. Like, they are a godling among men while they wield this weapon. At some points within this spell, you see them use the blade, and it is sharp enough to cut the fabric of reality and summon allies for whoever wields it.
Seems like we already have one up on that one.
And you would also see in this casting, as he produces the magic and you're all around him, you would see a heart, like a humanoid looking heart, that has been cut from the body and is resting upon some type of religious dais, or maybe like an Aztec-y sacrificial altar, where they would sacrifice, you know, human sacrifice here to honor the various gods. But the heart itself has been removed and placed here to symbolize some type of offering, but it still beats.
You had my, what was the phrase? You had my attention, now you have my interest.
Okay.
Thank you, Calvin Can.
Um,
And the image is showing the sword is causing the heart to still beat.
No. You would see that these are now two separate aspects of the spell. So as something within this divination is giving you the history of the blade. Like either who's wielded it, who sought it, who made it, you don't know. But there were three distinct individuals. One that was predominantly masculine, one that was a little more androgynous, and then one that was distinctly feminine. And with each of them respectively, you would see that they would wield the awesome power of the sword for military purpose. And in each one, you would see their ability to summon creatures by, you know, cutting through the plains and pulling them onto this side. You would see them fight amongst legions of soldiers. And basically, as those three, like, illusions begin to go back into the bowl, this separate spell takes form within the waters, and it is the beating heart. He's very, as everything begins to finish, he's very much fatigued, and like, you can see there was physical strain on his body for him to do that.
Forgive me for asking, but that image shows us that the sword is quite powerful in for combative purposes, but I didn't see any signs of it potentially being useful for healing purposes.
Ah, yes. Well, I believe that the sword itself will not give me the power to heal her.
Mhm.
Though I will be able to take her somewhere. And he references the mingling of the planes.
I see.
And so he wants to physically take her body to a positive energy plane where the more good aligned deities would be for direct intervention, not going through a clerical channel.
So the sword itself is more or less a tool to achieve the goal.
That is correct.
Not the, okay.
I'm gonna say
No.
beating heart.
Oh, I thought that
I
was
was
my
like,
thought. Yeah.
Like healing
Do you
magic.
have any use for it after you're done, Cobalt?
I do have purpose for the sword
Come on.
once I am done with it.
Do you have
It's a
purpose for that beating
medium-sized
heart?
weapon.
What was with the beating
I believe
heart?
the beating heart is the purpose. There is a drawback to this power. Whatever entity is bound within the Sword of Air has grown to ire its existence, and it has now caused the blade to become corrupted. And it will actively try to possess anyone who wields it. And in my dreams and in my research, I believe what drove those people to such violence wasn't their desire for bloodshed, but rather the sword's desire for bloodshed. I wish to destroy the sword once I am done with it, so that no others may lay waste to the realms of men.
But if you fail, will it cut out your own heart? Cobalt.
I do not know.
What happens if somebody else requires the ability to take their loved ones to be healed to the positive energy planes? Wouldn't you be robbing them of the same chance you're trying to grant yourself?
All who need the sword would be welcome to it. You kind of
Not
openly
if you
get-
destroy it.
Well, there wouldn't be instantaneous, my good friend. If there was need for you to use the sword, and you have it, I am not one to demand it from you. I simply ask that when your reasons are done, you
I
allow me.
disagree.
I approve.
I believe such a thing should
I
be
do
destroyed
not have a
as soon
feeling
as
on the
possible.
subject either way. I'm merely just trying to ascertain as much information as possible about my current mission.
I only intend to use the sword to take the Yandra somewhere else, somewhere.
Yeah,
safe.
the positive energy plane is
And once that goal is concluded, I do seek to destroy the sword so that others do not use it for its destructive purposes. If you need the sword for your own quest, I am not here to stop you.
This man, smooth-skinned though he may be, is an honorable man seeking to heal his wife, and I, for one, as a Cobalt, will help him.
It's hard for him to say.
Thank you.
Admitting what he truly is.
He gives you the traditional draconic bow.
I
as
return.
as a nod of appreciation.
And as of note, I am actually a winged kobold. Yep.
I was
So
gonna say,
Oh,
try
beautiful.
not to break your wings, patting him on the back.
Yeah, you said wind kobold. I was like,
If
I'm not
His
saying that
wing
I
powers.
need use of it. I'm just saying that, if
I-
you destroy it, the others who may need to use it, as your wife's malady may not be your wife may not be the only person affected by said
There
malady,
could be
good
more
sir,
good use for
I
that.
do recognize your
and
concern.
that destroying it might not be the best subject.
Well,
Maybe
Should it-
encasing it for safety purposes.
should it fall into the wrong hands,
Well,
I believe it will do much more harm than good.
Interesting
Should the
beard
planet
you
tilt
have.
off its axis, we would fly
It's
into
removable.
something
Well,
all the
other
dwarf
than
spears off.
the space
Our
we're currently in.
contract is simply to help
We can
you
move,
locate
see.
it, and whatever you choose to do with it afterwards, that's your business,
Prestidigitation.
not ours.
I
So,
don't think it's a
beard.
While I feel that
Yeah.
such a weapon should be dismantled, but I do know from the little bit I've read of relics, the reason they're still around is because they're quite resilient. So,
This is very true. I do believe a few others have attempted to find the sword in the past with the intent of destroying it. I have not divined a method that they intended to use, though I'm sure if you were to pick up on their research, you may find hints or at least a lead on where to start.
what are these individuals' names?
I do not
I
know.
used to do that.
It is
I
if
believe
someone
everyone. He's protecting his wife.
I believe it is Sortin is remotely blocking my incantations to prevent me from learning
I mean, I could, but it
as much information as I wish.
See, I have a feeling sense motive would
And
work
you would be
well.
familiar that remote,
Kind of.
very similar to how he had protected the room
Mm-hmm.
using some type of screen or scrying magic to.
There was doubt could be magic that
Yes,
could
I believe
deter-
it was a screen spell.
Yeah.
There could be
So
magic
I'll
that
go
could
along with
intercept
this
and
for now.
prevent.
Yes, and so there's a lot of the information that he knows is out there, but he doesn't know what's true and what is been planted by other people.
Or myth and legend.
Or is exactly, or is myth and legend. So in this case, the remote viewing of those things, he's pretty much reached the end of like, okay,
What do
so
we do with it?
this is the extent of what I can do with it. Now it's time to start actually investigating them in person, which is where your group comes in
We're
and
assisting
his
by
group.
taking a different direction. Makes sense.
And incidentally being an object of scrying.
Does Yamanaka feel like he's not telling us all of the information that he has?
You can roll a sense motive.
Can I roll a perception?
It would be perception
Your person.
to look through the room while he's gone to see if he has notes squirreled away that he hasn't told you. If you're trying to glean this information based off of his like posture and mannerisms, it would be sense motive.
Okay. Dang, I don't have that trained. Alright, well, never mind then.
Yeah, I would have done
Take a
it too.
chance.
But
Take a roll.
Oh, yeah, I do, though.
Yeah, Ted?
If,
Well,
No, that's
for sense
only for
motive.
knowledge skills.
Only knowledge skills.
whoa.
It's only for
I could
knowledge
try.
skills that if you're not trained, the highest you can get to 10.
It's only a 16.
Implying basic
That's
knowledge.
bad.
Oh, I would have
Yeah,
done that
you're
from the
basically
beginning.
applying the
Man, you
what
don't
you
know.
read, what you learned in high school.
Five,
Level of
eh? You
knowledge.
never know.
Perception would have been way better.
What did you roll
I rolled a 5
for sense motive?
for sense motive.
I mean, based off of the extent that he's gone through to seem honorable, and the extent that he's gone through to give you tools, he has nothing to hide from you.
Well, just because he's given us tools and opportunity doesn't mean he just can't
I think the
belie
dwarf
any other
might have to
intention.
share.
This is very true.
I
This
got a
is
19.
purely based off of what he's done so far
That'll be
and
heretical.
for sense motive.
Oh no, it's kind of.
Heretical.
It's kind of,
Come on, what? Come on,
It's
what?
itchy.
Doesn't matter for the character.
you get
gotta
the
do it.
sense he is
Come on.
You're a dwarf.
withholding some information. Yes.
Yeah, true.
You can ask him what that is. You can share that with the party right now. You're the only one who is aware that he might be withholding something.
Alright, well,
I'll keep it to myself.
Okay.
if I feel like he has no reason to be lying to us, or he isn't lying to us, then I trust it.
You've been straightforward so far.
I mean, he's just to cover mechanically, and this would be true for all future instances. I do not like that other GMs initiate with bluff. I believe you should initiate with sense motive. So unless I tell you something that seems dubious in nature, you have no reason to not trust the guy. If you deliberately do not trust him, you are more than welcome to sense motive and try to pry into what he's hiding. You're more than welcome to do that. But if this wizard is trying to, come for you to help, and he's already agreed to give information out that so it's not repeated later and wastes resources, he would be willing to give you everything that he knows. And if you would, I don't think you have access to spellcraft, but with your limited knowledge of the way magic works, his explanation of him being blocked from obtaining better answers,
Oh,
it could be
it's
totally
not-
justifiable.
It's not the magic aspect, it's just the, person-to-person aspect.
So are you trying to, okay, so let me ask you this, just for clarification.
Yeah.
Are you trying to glean whether or not his
He's being-
intentions are true, or if the amount of information he's relinquished to you is all of the information?
Both.
Okay, so
But that's more not from a
Well,
magic
so-
aspect, just from like a person aspect. Like, is he just being
Did he
honest? Is he being personal?
I mean, he seems genuine. With the result that you got, he seems genuine.
And
You would
I
also know,
prefer
like, he has a cleric of Tyr, who is a lawful good cleric in his immediate friend group. And they actively do not associate with people who are evil or with ill intent. Borg is effectively a mercenary and is just going to follow the money. But you would know that he's one of the few survivors that came back from the expedition because you had a chance to talk with him alone in the tavern. And so the reason he's here isn't necessarily for the money, is that he feels like he owes Caden a life debt, which is usually the actions of a good person. Yeah.
But again, sincerity doesn't also belie other intentions.
This is true. So it's just with the result that you have and what you know about him, you don't get the feeling that he's deliberately
Staring us down.
right. He's not deliberately lying to you. He's giving you genuine information that he believes to be true.
Okay.
Does anybody else have checks they'd like to make?
Or do you want me to
As
make any
before,
checks
I'd
on
like to
research?
do this more of the en natural way
Yes.
instead of
You
rolling
go ahead and roll for
insight
research.
checks.
So, are you having anybody assist you? And what knowledge skill would you be throwing?
My knowledge. Let's go with knowledge, either history or arcana, or
So-
ability or planes. Your call.
Okay, so if you're trying to research this region of the map, it would be mostly knowledge local. Because I remember you saying you were trying to look into the area you're going to be exploring into, right?
That, and I'm also basically everything he told us about, like the sort of area. I'm gonna go into like local libraries and just start researching everything I know of, like things that could be referenced towards that. Like, what are we going? What are we getting ourselves? What am I getting myself?
So that's going to take a lot of time.
well, I have 5 days.
No, you have you have 1 day.
Well, I
because
told you
this-
at the very when you first pointed that means
It's-
the
well,
very beginning.
Okay,
I said
yes.
that's what I'm
So
doing
the
to
first
get
2
it.
days you spend researching the region.
Okay.
The second set of 2 days after the meeting, I'll even give you 3. So that meeting sometime in the morning. So you have 3 days to research the history of the sword itself.
Okay, so my
So
first
which
check,
one would you
I'll
like to do first?
First one, let's go ahead and do the locale, the area,
Okay.
the region. So,
So you have 2 days of time. Would you like to take a 20? There is no significant. There
I'll
is no
take a 20.
significant repercussion
Yeah,
for
32.
failure. So if the information isn't there, it isn't there.
32.
Okay, with a 32 for knowledge local, what you would get from this region is that the old road is incredibly run with like bandits. There are legions of hobgoblins and goblins that reside in the Stoneheart Mountains that are actively in military conflict with the dwarves of the Stoneheart Mountains.
Okay.
You would not know their individual like clans or subclans or groups, but you would know that they actively come down from the mountains and kill travelers, loot them, and bring the supplies back into the mountains so that they can use them to combat the dwarves. The region is also riddled with the standard wandering aggressive animal. In this area, it would be like mountain lions, bears, mountain
my.
bears. You do know that there are a large group of dragons and kobolds in the Dragon Hills. They're named that because of the groups of families that live there. You would know that there is a family of blue dragons and a family of green dragons,
Okay.
and their kobold underlings, respectively. The region itself is not known for metallic dragons, though there are rumors of bronze and brass dragons in the area as well that actively engage the evil dragons of the area. The Haste Canyon is a terrible place, don't go there. That's the general gist. Elise, this is very important. You would know that
Spell
in-
the name of the city real quick for me.
ELISE.
in the city of Elise, there is either a sage or a group of sages that actively specialize in divining the past. You hear of rumors that they are dead, and you contact them with a Speak with Dead spell. You also hear rumors that they're statues, and you communicate with them via offering. You're not sure which one is true. But you do know that individuals who have sought artifacts often journey to Elise to consult the sages there. You do not have any information of whether or not someone has consulted information about the Sword of Air there.
Okay.
All right. You also wouldn't have the history of like anything else that's done there. You would know that they might have some type of record or some type of sign-in book that would dictate who has been there to consult the sages. You would know that the Black Forest here and the Darthwood are riddled with evil creatures, and that there are active disappearances here in the Starcrag foothills that separate the two forests. Travelers who venture on that road are actively disappearing, and there's rumors of it being like whispers and songs from the forests pulling them off the road. You get almost, if it wasn't in the, since it's not in the ocean, your first instinct is think like mermaids or sirens or something.
Yeah.
But since it's land-based, you're like, it's not really their motif. However, there is a significant river that runs from this portion of the Stoneheart Mountains down through the Starcrag foothills, through the Black Forest.
So like when sharks come up rivers and stuff from on the intercoastal and whatnot, maybe something.
Maybe.
Stay the fuck away from there.
This would tend to be freshwater, so any saltwater sharks wouldn't be venturing that far in. But you might have like the estuary-based crocodile or something like that.
Crocodile, gator, mud tiger.
What else?
We don't have a doctor.
You would know that
Yet.
here in the Desolation, there is a lot of orc activity and hobgoblin activity. The city of the camp is still what you would consider a friendly city, though it is more of a military outpost at this point.
Okay.
Let's say what's wrong.
Your destination is also in the region. That's the city of Glabir.
So we don't even have to actually go towards the two big bad forests.
Right. Well, unless
Unless we
leads
have-
lead you that way.
Yeah.
All right. So then, with all that information, on the next roll, I'll just take another 20, 32.
And this is for history about the Sword of Air.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have, and you're saying that nobody was assisting you during this?
This one, no.
Okay. I'm going to give you a circumstance bonus of +5. Because at this point,
37.
you probably spend your first day and turn up nothing.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. The name doesn't even appear in records or archives. So you enlist the help of some local scholars who work at the library to basically go into the more ancient, the more lost in translation kind of books. With a 37, you would find the name Akabakar associated with the sword. A-K-A.
B-A-K-A.
Yes. B-A-K-A-R.
Also known as Bakar.
AKA.
AKA Bakar.
Remember the little XP?
I love you so much.
Erase it.
No, keep it on there.
Smurf.
Oh God. Akabakar.
50 DKP minus.
Aka Baker.
Akabakar. You would find that name associated with the sword,
Okay.
and I'm actually going to give you information out of the book.
You found the right library pass.
Mm-hmm.
Hold, please.
I bought a bunch of
You learned how to
laser
use
pointers.
the Dewey Decimal System.
No,
You finally find out what an
No,
ISBN
you
Never
is.
understood that. I'll be absolutely honest.
You
Every time I went to
invented the
library-
Dewey Decimal System.
Only it's called the Alec something system.
No, it's because I have a Dickie Doo, so there.
It's a
I'm gonna open this underneath the table so I don't hear this.
It's an innie.
What
Oh,
side
like
of the
that.
here we like to axe it because it's 11 points.
I mean, I'm prepared to go as late as you guys want.
I can go as long as we can. If we go long, I want to take a quick, like, 10-minute break.
I would.
For the sake of the recordings and the video length and the file size,
I would say 11.
I think we
like a
should
hard
be cutting this soon.
Okay.
cut.
Because we're at what, 2 hours? I'm
A
gonna cut
little
this
over
whole
2
thing.
hours, yes.
The last part was an hour and a half.
And it's a file size issue. Last time we got 80 gigabytes out of the first episode.
And that was for one video.
And you can edit this all out.
Seeing as
Yeah,
this is
this part will be.
session 1.
Yeah, that'd be a
and
good
so,
bit
like,
you can
each
actually
one-
just
I'll go a
cut.
little-
Yeah, since this is session 1.
I told you, just take like the picture with the Native American fellow that they used to use on TVs back in the 50s.
I was
to
I
change it out
actually
for a
thought
cobalt.
about that. That's a great idea. Just like a quick like and then back.
But yeah, but instead of the Native American fellow, we make it a cobalt.
I like this idea.
That's
If
it,
you
yeah.
want, you can snap a
up.
picture of it and send it to me so I can just copy it.
No, he wants to read it out for the fans.
You don't get that much information.
Yeah. Akbar was a heartless man. He
Akbar.
changed genders.
Oh, I have
From
a quick
guild
question. You might be able to
and
answer off the top of your head. Can I get holy water from the Temple of Tyr?
Akbar.
For a price. For money.
Can't you just bless it?
I mean, this is
Yeah,
organized
create
religion.
holy
we're
water.
talking about, not-
There's a little more
I don't
to
think I
it.
have it.
There's like
prepared.
one, maybe
Well, I mean, not
this
right
dish
now.
don't
You don't
have
need it right now.
both
but-
ingredients, but
Yeah.
there's like
Oh yeah, because then I could just do it. Let me check.
silver,
holy water.
powdered silver. or something.
Okay.
Mhm.
They said did you
So-
want the app? Holy water.
Alright.
Yeah, but I was looking for it for free.
This entry
Last one is a level 1 spell.
is
Oh,
from
really? Yeah, sure,
1467 on the Imperial record. That's over 2,000 years ago. You're finding this as an incomplete book that was recovered from some type of military conflict. Effectively, this is the chronicles of some type of record keeper who has referenced this name and the sword in the following passage. The passage states that the court advisor, Akabakar, has returned from campaign he successfully slew a gold dragon by the name of Oxolrius. AUXOLYRIUS.
Okay.
And discovered the sword in the beast's lair.
Oh, gold dragons are lawful good, correct?
He stole my pappy's sword. Cover.
He has taken it to
Obviously.
his tower in the Legion's barracks for studying.
In his Legion's barracks.
In the Legion's barracks, that's where his tower is.
Yeah, but where's that?
It doesn't state.
Doesn't say.
Probably in whatever city this guy was riding in. You would gather that that was probably assumed to be common knowledge for the time.
Or at least to the reader.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, nobody outside of this.
That's what
is
you
gonna
find.
read this damn
Alright.
thing. And Frank.
No, he knows that.
I guess when I found that name, I would look up everything. Well, I'll do it on. Oh, I guess on one at a time.
So that was 4 days right there.
That would be at the end of the 4th day, yeah. However, you could bring that name to the sages of Elise.
Yep, I'll think about that.
And Elise, if you take the old road north, is one of the cities you stop in before going to Glabir.
Alright. After finding that out. Okay. Good.
Okay. Excellent. Well, let's get you guys organized for your departure in the morning, then I believe that would be a good place to wrap up the evening.
Awesome.
Alright? So, do you bring that information to the group or to Caden?
I'll bring it to the group.
Okay. I need you to decide whether or not you include Caden in that, because again, that you are contractually bound to share any information you find with him.
Oh, is it like one of the, I thought we'd bring it all together in one like nice gift basket, not as we go.
This is as you go.
Oh, well, then yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So, You approach Caden. He's still in his study. At this point, you guys would find that he spends 98% of his time here, at least while he's in the city. He's currently working on his phone. Do you interrupt him or do you let him finish?
No, I interrupt him. It's important information.
Okay. What do you say?
Found some information.
He immediately stops what he's doing and looks up at you.
Just the name, and I say the dragon's name, and I don't want to mispronounce it, and I say it in perfect Draconic. Exilarius.
Delivered well.
You pray like an ass.
Yeah, something like that.
God bless you. He goes, no, that name means nothing to me. It sounds draconic.
It is. It was a gold dragon about 2,000 years ago.
My grandpappy.
It
Come on.
was killed by a court advisor named Akabakar. And
So as soon as you say Akabakar, he noticeably, like,
Perks up.
is very interested in what you have to say.
He was also known as
he
Bakar.
returned. The year was 1467. He returned from a trip. He slew a gold dragon, and in the dragon's lair, he found the sword. He returned to his tower in the Legion's barracks to study it.
That's all you found?
That's all I found.
Incredible.
That was literally in the libraries here in the city.
Where did you find that?
In the library here in the city.
Can I send food?
Wow. Yeah.
20.
Okay. He is genuinely excited. I'll have to discipline Melvis.
Is that why
No, he sent Melvis to research in the library.
I'm sorry, this
Well, maybe
feels
Melvis
like a
should
Smithers
take
Burns
more than one
situation.
day.
It's like Memphis.
It's more of a.
It's a good
It's more of a
spanking.
Kid Zap Brannigan.
Yeah. It's like, fetch my whip.
Why didn't you find this in the library?
You didn't tell me to check the library, sir.
No, he is very much interested. In fact, he produces the scroll of endure elements for you. He hands it to you. And you would need to make the check before you add that to your spell book. Just a heads up. It's 15 plus 1, so you need to make a DC 16 spellcraft check. You can't take a 20 because the result of failure is you burn the scroll and don't get it. So you have to roll. But he will offer to assist you since you've helped him, so you'll get an additional 2.
Okay, so plus
I
12
mean, if
to
we're
roll.
present for this,
Yeah, so
I'd
just
be
roll
happy
3
to
or higher.
assist him as well.
Wow.
That doesn't count. Even though it's an 18, it doesn't count. It was out of the box.
What?
Well,
It
it's
counts.
I got a 9. We're good.
Okay, you add this scroll to your spell
That's what
book.
he lives by.
I mean, sure.
So then
honor
he
goes.
also
Yeah,
says
right.
that I believe you all, if I remember correctly, decided to travel by
Sure.
road.
Yeah.
You should
Right
bring that
on.
name to the sages, though the last time I visited, they declined to help me for personal reasons.
So we'll just leave.
Personal.
Yes, like the clergy, they are reluctant to help those who are destined to die. In this case, since I was there to aid my wife in her illness, they would not relinquish any information to me.
Indoor elements, it's called.
Yeah.
Would they help us if they knew we're trying to help you?
You are
Theoretically, would they
probably not going to be
willing
asked to
help?
dispose of it.
With the
wait.
sword, we will slay destiny.
What level?
Save
is
your wife. Go out.
Huh?
What level is it?
You just want
It
this.
might be 1, it might be 2.
So
It's
you're
really honorable
undefeated.
time.
It's a level 1 spell.
No drawbacks.
If you're
Break
looking
the
for endure
You
contract.
just travel
Yeah.
back through time
Yeah,
to
it
anything
is
Yeah, that's a good
a
point.
sorcerer wizard.
If he
1.
turns out to be evil,
Endure
there's no
elements,
drawback.
Core rule book.
Yes. If he turns out to be evil.
All right, so yes, he's very happy about that, and he goes, "Well, you're all due to be leaving in the morning. I will have some type of reward worked up for you as per the terms of the contract. You shall have it by morning's time.
More than a scroll of endure elements.
Much more. That is.
That's just to get us through what we have to.
Now we have a name. That could have been one of the individuals from the vision. Now we have more than a hunch You know, that's with a name.
That's
Found.
what happens when you take
You would
more
know.
than
I mean, you're the
day
one
in
that doesn't want to
library.
relinquish your name to people. Like now that you
Yeah.
have the name of the guy who had it, that's
Found in the libraries here at the city.
And it's-
I know a chiropractor that can help you with that hunch.
yeah. Your character dies.
Right there, just
You're no longer a thing. You're
The
a
funny
level
thing is,
one
it's almost literally
blind.
You're a fucking
blind, deaf, and dumb human for all I care.
Yeah.
No, you're a bard now.
No.
I am already dressed
Whoa,
as an
whoa, whoa, whoa,
entertainer.
whoa,
You
whoa.
want me to
Good.
help you
There's
out? I can
nothing
make
wrong
this
with
really
bards.
easy. DM to DM.
Word.
Just say the next
I have
time
it
he
in
does
mind
it,
now, but
he'll
I'm
be
just
turned
saying.
into a human.
Oh god.
Oh god, that's horrible. Come out.
But no, that gives us a
there could not be a
confirms our
worse fate
direction.
than that.
Instead of just wandering and hoping for the best.
Yeah, I
You
know.
guys now have not only
My
like
skin will be all
more
slimy.
purpose behind
That's
Oh,
the-
cool.
you
Imagine
effectively have
being
two
that
leads.
kind
You
of,
have the
like,
name,
stretched
and
out,
you
you know
have
what I
the
mean?
Temple of Frey that's believed to be
Like
in the
the
rear.
weird shit.
And you have the author.
Something
Oh,
about
too tall.
the Legion, or the Legion's barracks.
How do they not hit their head
A
on
lot of
doorways?
legions. But if you have the name of the author of the book, you can find out what the
Heresy.
name's part of.
That wasn't written in. The book was 2,000 years old. Like a lot of that has been lost to.
So it would be
Natural
nowhere
death.
in the book the person's name. Okay.
He was probably
Your
on
notes
the
are
cover at
probably
one
so much
point,
more
but
better than mine.
now
I
it's
stopped
not.
taking them.
Hopefully she is.
That'll be the cover of my journal.
She is.
But I know she's taking
Written
good
by
notes.
Mr. X.
All right.
You're taking notes, right?
Oh, God.
Okay, good, because I have shitty fucking notes. I just want to make sure somebody else is like backing me up on it.
Alright, so.
All right. So it looks like we're going to be picking up there for session 2.
Alright.
All right.
Awesome.